right?
Chat, Mike is
that's
right.
just the way it is.
Mike is right.
I found my favorite article from anti-Israel squad member Chris Rabb wins Democratic Congress nod in Pennsylvania. Backed by Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and far-left streamer Hasan Piker, Rabb made opposition to Israel and AIPAC central to his campaign, facing no Republican rival. His seat is assured. I'm going to actually send this to... I'm going to screenshot this. Send this to Hasan. Oh no, dude. They hate his ass, man. They fucking hate his ass. Oh no. I'm laughing because I'm like, oh no, dude. He needs to increase his security budget, bro. Jesus. Oh my God. The vibes are immaculate, bro. And yesterday at the end of stream, I told Hasan exactly what was going to happen in the chat. Let me just pull that up real quick because it is very funny. I think it was the last thing I said. Oh, no, it's not. I said, it's actually a good thing that Stanford is doing well early. That means that Street didn't bank establishment votes from early mail-in votes. I expect Rabb to win election day votes. They have a model as well, looking not bad for Rabb so far. There was absolutely no fucking doubt. Let me zoom in a little bit so you can see some of my messages. I was overseeing 18 polling locations in heavy pro-Street territory yesterday. Even there, we were keeping it competitive for Rabb. It was a fantastic day. You guys killed it. You fucking killed it. And you know, chat, I didn't, like, I got to admit, I didn't prepare for this stream at all. I'm just in such a good mood that I'm just loving it. Candidates backed by Trump, Ocasio-Cortez triumph in key House primaries. One of the things that I want everybody to understand is, one, Philadelphia DSA, they went for it. They were ballsy. And because they did, they won. The second thing, Chris Rabb got the Hassanabi bump. Period. Dot. That's the reality. That's the truth. Third Way gave a bunch of attention to Hasan Piker. And look at this. Look at this. Look at this. This is a rally for a congressional seat. Do you see any gray hairs other than Hasan's beard? The answer is no. No. And, you know, Chris's beard as well. If I were Hasan, I would literally get a poster made out of this. And when we on the left pull together, we win. This is our win. This is literally our win. And we beat the backs of the Zionist lobby. We defeated the establishment Democratic Party. Josh Shapiro was frightened to even, like, he was trying to rat fuck Rabb from behind the scenes, and he failed. Are you jelly or envious, Mike? Be honest. I am neither, because I have what's known as emotional maturity. And I don't center myself. I center the movement. And it's so fucking awesome when you do that. If you're in Philadelphia, the feeling of victory, the feeling of solidarity that you got the opportunity to feel last night is just the beginning. This is a single congressional seat. I want you to imagine this across the entire country. That's what it'll feel like when AOC wins the presidency. Do you understand why now I don't trash her? I don't try to humiliate her. I don't try to lie on her and smear her for a couple hundred likes on Twitter or whatever the fuck. We've just gotten started. And we are living, ladies and gentlemen, in an era of hyperpolarization. And it's never going to get better for us than this. I could type. Summer Lee was primaried. She got 80% of the vote. They have been trying their hardest to go against her, and they've just been absolutely annihilated. And like, this reality is not something that, I mean, like, I've said this. Philadelphia and Pittsburgh will both be represented by socialists. In America's most important swing state, Pennsylvania, the left is ascendant. And, you know, this morning I woke up and I was like, what the fuck's going on with DSA LA? And DSA LA people come to me and they're yelling at me and they're going, you know, it's too hard. We don't have the capacity. We're running for other offices. And like, that's not true. Now, they do have the jungle primary situation, which is fucking garbage, and we've got to get rid of this shit. I think the number one thing the left could do in America that would be better, that would make our lives better, would be to change California to ranked choice voting. Why the fuck is it a jungle primary? The answer is, of course, so that Republicans could vote for conservative Democrats in general election. That's why it's a jungle primary. Because it allows Republicans to vote for Republicans and then vote for the conservative Democrat. That is what it is. And it's basically an attempt to keep the left out of power by consolidating Republican votes around conservative Democrats. That's why California's run like shit. If you want to know why. If you want to know why California sucks, it has no good left-wingers, that's why. It's a structural design. I think the jungle primary was a result of a court case. It literally doesn't matter. It needs to go. Having to stop my sub because of tough times, but Mike, thanks Mike for 5 years and stitching together a tapestry of hope for many. Now the membership coordinator of the North Texas DSA chapter because I got activated by you and Hasan. Amazing. Good thing the centrist vote was divided. Otherwise, Chris would have lost. No, that's not how it works. If there was a head-to-head, he would have cruised to an even bigger victory. Don't you live in LA now? Change that shit, bro. I mean, yeah. I gotta change my name to Mike from LA. So right now, it's not bad, chat. Mark Pinsley has won the Democratic primary. Senate District 16. CC Gerlach has won House District 22. Amazing. Mark's still around, huh? Man, I need to see if there's anybody worth voting for in my district. I voted for Mark for Auditor General. Fake progressive Kenyatta. Beat him sadly. Yeah, I know. It's okay. Pretty exciting stuff. Looks like... Oh, what happened here? Damn. Oh, she lost by 60 votes. Would you like to interview with the other NYDSA, Dara Lisa? Don't know how to connect you. I think Hasan is meeting her again this weekend. Yeah, yeah, for sure. Do I think blue Texas is a possibility? I do think it's a possibility. Actually, I think it's a probability at this point. I think there's going to be a landslide against Trump. That's kind of, you know, if you guys remember when I debated Sam Cedar, I kind of told him that obviously things are going to get bad, right? I'm not an accelerationist. However, seeing the reality of Donald Trump and the fecklessness of the centrist Democrats has opened up an opportunity for our politics that would not otherwise exist. James Murdoch is buying New York Magazine, Vox Media's podcast network, and the Vox website for $300 million. So a bunch of left-wing content is now going to be owned by the Murdochs. Jesus. And they're not even like super left. I think for me, the moment I knew it was winning, that he was going to win, was when this went viral.
AIPAC is trash. 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 AIPAC is trash.
This is an absolute probability. This is what Trump is saying about Talrico.
Probably he'll win very substantially, and I think he'll go on to defeat a very defective candidate, a candidate that believes in six genders. He takes hits at Jesus Christ. He's wearing a mask 6 months ago. Anybody wearing a mask 6 months ago doesn't get it. And he's a vegan. He's a vegan in Texas, and you can't get elected as a vegan in Texas.
Did you talk to Senate leadership?
Wait, is he really a vegan? Is Talrico really a vegan? Do you think this wave will eject the party of responsive reps and therefore replace the need for a workers' party? Okay, first of all, no, of course not. This is something that everybody needs to learn. The Democratic Party is not a real political party. It is just nothing more than a brand, okay? And a guaranteed spot on the ballot. You don't have to pay any dues. You can't lose the whip. It is just it's a vessel. Ideologically, the Democratic Party has had vastly different positions. Part of the reason why we're in the shit state is that the centrist neoliberals did entryism into the Democratic Party under Clinton. Started with Carter, and it was completed by Clinton. They did entryism until they got a president, and they reconfigured the Democratic Party's ideology far to the right. It is nothing more than a vessel. That's all. So if we seize it, then we can make it whatever the fuck we want it to make. And by the way, the only reason why people want to run as Democrats is because millions of people will just vote for any Democrat. And so you are getting their votes. If you become the Democratic nominee, Chris Rabb became the Democratic nominee. So now he's going to win because that city is the most Democratic city in the district in the country. So he could just show up and he's going to get millions of votes, or he's going to get hundreds of thousands of votes just because he's the Democrat. That's why he ran as the Democrat. And he gets to say whatever the fuck he wants. That's the only reason why. Did you see this? It's so disgusting. Israel's Minister of National Security, Itamar Ben-Gvir, attacks a female activist and says, "Welcome to hell. The summer camp is over." Activists for the Global Samud Flotilla are being zip-tied and abused while being forced to listen to Israel's national anthem. What, are you surprised? Are you surprised that these guys are disgusting fascists? Of course they are. They're torturing people. That's why everybody who went on the flotilla is incredibly fucking brave, which is why it was disgusting when Baden Panada insulted it. I'm not a James Talrico enjoyer. You know, if you guys want to do work for him, I completely understand. I think it would probably be better than Ken Paxton winning if he wins, but I'm not going to be spending much effort on Talrico. I'm not going to be really, I mean, I'll cover it, but to the absolute minimum. He's a right winger. You know, he hates the left. Obviously, he has to pretend and pantomime for the time being, but I'm not going to waste my time. You know, it is what it is. You don't hire Liz Smith if you like left wingers, okay? Like, it's just, it is what it is, okay? Hey, Mike, what is your opinion on voter turnout for Kent fourth against Massey? That's what they did is they got low, they spent $50 million to turn out low information Trump cultists. That's why he was defeated. It's so cringe. Mike is once again peddling hope slop to the midwits in his stream, peddling yesterday as some sort of win. When Massey got the boot, Massey's a Republican. And Republicans won judiciary seats in Georgia. That's because Democrats are fucking stupid and don't know how to campaign against Republicans. It's centrist Democrats of Georgia. Ossoff and Warnock are incompetent. And Raffensperger lost. Cringe hope slop. Huh? Mike. Oh my God. That's so funny, dude. Meanwhile, the candidates that are my mutuals, two of my followers won their congressional races yesterday. Oh, fuck. Bro, this guy is going... This is what he's going to do to Cory Booker when he sees him. Look at this flexibility. In jeans? And a fucking suit jacket? He's so fucking cool, man. Okay, chat. Let's... I want to see if we could find coverage of Chris winning. I have a feeling it's going to be tougher. Now, like, my feeling about Massey is... I think Massie actually did really well. Am I mutuals with the Texas lady? I'm not sure. I don't know what her name is. Oh, God damn it. Hasan posted a fucking... Now we got a Hasan is right short.
Sharif Street, PA3 candidate, is now claiming his opponent Chris Rabb has billions of dollars in TV ads. Pff, I wish. The Pennsylvania primaries election is in 2 days, May 19th.
The socialists from New York, you know what that means? They're doing it because after spending millions of dollars against me, they know that if they don't do something, they're going to lose this election because the power of the people is more powerful than the people in power.
Yeah, famously, that's what socialists are known for, being in power and being powerful people, attacking the little guy backed by the fucking governor of the state and also Senator from New Jersey, Cory Booker. How many people were watching him? That's what I want to know.
And they've got billions of dollars in TV ads. But we've
Billions
got
of dollars.
1,000 times more people.
Bro, where are the people? I want to see the people because I saw the people. Street campaign is spamming robocalls. I mean, that kind of stuff is kind of successful for like boomer voters, I feel like.
The socialist candidate has talked about how he's going to get everybody health care, but he's been in the General Assembly the same amount of time as I have, but hasn't gotten it done.
Yeah, I wonder why he hasn't been able to get health care in the General Assembly. Yeah, because of people like you, man, because you don't want it. Like, what do you...
It's like... This guy says he wants Medicare. This is the same thing that Mallory did. Mallory McMorrow. She was like, I just don't think single payer is doable legislatively. And it's like, because you don't support it. You're one of the people we need to beat.
Mean. Dude, this is my favorite line of attack from centrist.
By the way, I don't think that lady in San Antonio actually said... I don't think she said Jews in concentration camps. She said Zionists, right? And most Zionists are Christian in America. So I don't think she said Jews in concentration camps or whatever. So that's just like not even true. But I don't think you should say people go to internment camps. If you're running for Congress, you're not allowed to say that. That's obviously a pretty crazy thing to say. She did say Zionist Jews at one point. Oh no, you can't say that. You can't say that. My general feeling about that is like, she's some crank. She's not very good at, you know, being a politician. Who cares? Who fucking cares? She's a conspiracy theorist. Really stunning enthusiasm gap coming out of Pennsylvania last night. Not every day you see Democratic turnout lapping Republicans here by 450,000 votes. Well, I mean, of course. The Democrats had a really big contested election in Philadelphia, and they had a contested election in the Lehigh Valley with Bob. So the Democrats had a lot of like really important primaries. Like so overall, I'd say Pennsylvania's politics, other than Shapiro, like Brooks was the best candidate in the 7th district, endorsed by Bernie Sanders. He was also endorsed by Josh Shapiro, obviously. And he fucking crushed. Ryan McKenzie is such a fucking worm. He's gonna get absolutely owned. Bob Brooks, I believe he was the firefighters president. So when they say firefighter union president, so when they say he was a retired firefighter, like, yeah, he is. But he's also a very politically savvy, working class trade unionist, which I think is and I'm pretty sure he supports Medicare for all, doesn't he? Or am I wrong? I think he does. Maybe I'm wrong about this. Stop endless wars. Stop bullying queer people. Yeah, he supports Medicare for all. So again, another swing district, trade unionist. I mean, he's not like a DSA guy, but he's like pretty solidly left wing for that district, which again is a swing district. I mean, this is why he got Bernie support, right? Now, I don't know if he's very good on Gaza, and I don't think he's like great on China either. But he's so as much as I want to be like, oh, Bob is like awesome, I don't know that he's awesome. I think he's fine. I mean, as you can see, he's a trade unionist, you know, Ro Khanna. He's not, I mean, he's got people that I don't like in here for sure. It just seems like a cross ideological coalition. I mean, he's got Blue Dog and the Progressive Caucus and Working Families Party and Make the Road, which is a far left immigration group. Plumbers Local 69. So a pretty diverse ideologically guy. He's all right. He's all right. Probably not my favorite. Who is this? This is a guy who's running in Pennsylvania's most swing district in the Lehigh Valley. He's a former firefighters union president, supports Medicare for all. He will be like one of the better Democrats, you know, certainly to the left of the average Democrat, but I don't know. I'm worried about his Gaza positions. You think AOC should have stayed out of this one and not endorsed Garcia? I think AOC should have shut the fuck up. If I'm going to be completely honest, I think she should have just shut the fuck up. Sometimes you could just say nothing. You know what I mean? Because like Johnny Garcia is literally evil. You could, you know, yes, the person is cringe. Like they're trying to do the Sister Soldier moment where they're like, this person's anti-Semitic and they're a conspiracy theorist and I'm not. But we don't need this. But overall, again, this is one of those things where this is what I want you to understand. I could say this, but also not think it matters that much. You need to be able to do that, right? I think a good analogy for this kind of thing is like, consider somebody's tweets. Like imagine you're a baseball coach and one of your players is up to bat, right? And you know, their tweets are getting pumped out and they swing at a ball that was a bit outside the zone. Okay, that's a strike. Big fucking deal. Big fucking deal. That you didn't hit that ball out of the park. Who cares? On to the next pitch. You need to stop hyper fixating on stuff that's really not that relevant. You know, in the grand scheme of a season, a single bad swing is not that big of a deal. And that's how I feel toward AOC in this post. I'm like, not really helpful, but not that big of a deal. Please cover the U.S. Justice Department forever bars IRS from auditing Trump's past tax returns. Oh, I will get to that kind of shit. But right now, we are having fun. Amy McGrath got fucking dumpstered and cumstered by Charles Booker. What a fucking loser. Now, I'm totally fine. Like, I love you guys in Kentucky, but, like, obviously, like, congratulations, Charles, on winning the primary. But, like, you know, I'm not going to cover this because, like, you're not going to win. So it's just kind of grifty to, like, promote this as, like, some sort of like, super amazing opportunity because it's not. I mean, if I see evidence to the contrary, if you show me some polling or something where, you know, it looks like he's got a shot, then I will change my mind. But like, part of politics is being able to triage and being like, hey, you know, that's just not going to happen. Democrats will nominate Charles Booker in Kentucky's U.S. Senate race. Booker, who lost by 23 points in 2022, defeated Amy McGrath, a prolific fundraiser who raised $77 million in her 2020 campaign against Mitch McConnell and then got absolutely cumstered and dumpstered. And she lost by 19. She spent 17 million to get 4 points, or 77 million to get 4 points better in a, like, embarrassment. I'm so glad she lost. How do I go about getting the DSA endorsement if the local chapter it's 45 minutes away from me hasn't been active since 2023? You want my honest answer? Restart it. Contact DSA, get the list of people that were in that chapter, and then start it. Restart it. Use your campaign as jumper cables. I mean, if you want my advice, if you're in the middle of bumblefuck, get the band back together. All those people would be highly likely to be good volunteer. Like anybody that was in the old DSA might volunteer for you or give you money or work on your campaign. And you have a reason to come back. Your campaign, you know, something to do. Is the reason why people leave DSA is there's nothing to do, or it doesn't feel like you're making a difference. That's why people leave politics, is when they've lost hope and they've lost energy. You know what causes you to lose hope and lose energy? Nothing to do and losing all the time. Infighting happens when you have nothing positive to do. That's why I'm in favor of running more candidates, because it gives us something positive and fun to do. Israel won in Kentucky. They will 100% serve the Republican Party now. They will not serve America. They will only serve Israel. True! True! I mean, Jake is right. The Republican Party is the party of cucks for Israel. That's true. All right, let's take a look at the results. So I posted last night, Philadelphia and Pittsburgh will now both be represented by socialists, Rep. Summerlee and Chris Rabb, both of which are my mutuals. Both of them are my mutuals. And somebody quote tweeted me and got even more likes. Let me see if I can do it. By pointing out something that, isn't there a thing where you can see the engagements? You post activity? There you go. Black socialists at that, since people like to pretend that the left is only white people for some reason. The answer is because black leftism would make the left unstoppable in America. That's why they shot and killed them all. That's why they're scared of black people becoming radical left-wingers, because that would be a incredibly difficult thing for the establishment to defeat. And of course this is true. By the way, Summerlee represents a 70% white city. So it's not like, oh man, she's just representing a super black city. She is actually getting the white people to sit down and listen. Time to move back to Pennsylvania. What are you talking about? There's no opportunities here. Everybody, we already won. I move on. I am not somebody, unless I'm the rep, I'm not staying there, you know? I win and move on. When are you going to fix DSALA? Here's the thing. I can't do anything on my own, right? You guys would have to help me. And the thing is, like, you know, based on my experience with LA, there's a lot of factional infighting and weird bad blood and institutional bureaucratic logic, and they're squabbling over nothing. That's what's wild to me. They're squabbling over nothing. They don't even have anything. It'd be one thing if they had like the mayor's office and like some congressional races and some state rep races that they were like protecting or whatever. They don't have anything. I'm always like, they're like, we have some city councilors, and I'm like, okay. And they get so mad when I'm like, people get so mad, which I understand why. Like I described, I was talking about things later, which is like, I was saying that because people in DSA LA, they are like robots. If you talk to people in DSA LA about politics, they'll be like, we have to focus on our campaigns because we don't have the capacity to do more. So we have to do these campaigns that we are working on. We don't have the capacity. If you go to a DSA LA meeting, you're going to hear the word capacity like about 50 fucking times. And it's just made up. They will just say, we don't have the capacity. And you're like, what are you saying? What are you talking about? And DSA LA grew like gangbusters because of Zohran Mamdani's win. Now, when Zohran launched his mayoral campaign, nobody thought he was going to win. But they did it anyway. And it was so successful that it resulted in DSA LA growing massively. People were seeing Zoran in New York City and they're like, I'm going to join LA DSA or DSA LA. And it's like, but then they don't do anything with those people. There's 7,000 members. It's like, I'm sorry, you should be, that is more than enough to run a congressional campaign. Do you know how many, if you actually got all those 7,000 people or like a quarter of them to be like serious volunteers, you're gonna win something with that. And, you know, obviously there's some issues with jungle primaries and there's some other issues with the DSALA. And I'm not saying they haven't done amazing shit. Like, I'm not trying to make fun of what they've done. I'm just saying, if they went for something that had national relevance like Congress, then more people would care. Every race needs a cadre member running. Whenever somebody says that to me, what they really mean is every race needs one of my friends to run. That's what they mean by cadre. They mean one of my friends. Would I move from LA if Pratt won? God forbid that happens. If Pratt won, unironically, it might be a good reason to like repeal jungle primaries. It would be very bad. There's no doubt. But sometimes you need the darkness before the dawn. You know, I'm in full optimism mode. Like I don't think that bad things happening are going to result in bad things in the long term. I think it's going to wake people up. Cadre candidates are important for socialist and office relationships. You don't say. You know, I think one of the things that happens is people want to set up procedures that are going to protect them from betrayal. And I want to let you know something, chat. There is no way. Sometimes people are just going to be pieces of shit. Sometimes people are going to be cadre candidates that get into office and then endorse Karen Bass. By the way, I completely agree with this. I think Zoran, see, the problem with SMC is that they like to play ball because a lot of SMC people are PMC people. SMC people are PMC people. And they like to play the inside game. They're addicted to always playing the fucking inside game. They're always trying to accommodate the establishment. What are your thoughts on the DSA and PSL and the differences between them? The main difference is that PSL is attempting to build an independent political party in an electoral system that heavily disfavors that because of math. Because of the design of our electoral system, third parties are heavily disincentivized. And so trying to do a third party is basically a dead letter unless you could get such a large faction of the population to support your issue that it causes one of the major parties to rupture. So DSA, on the other hand, is tactically flexible, meaning sometimes they run primaries, sometimes they run as third party. And the tactical flexibility in the system we have, SMC, PMC, yes. Socialist Majority Caucus, PMC is professional managerial class. Socialist Majority Caucus is widely considered to be the most right-wing caucus of DSA. Now, normally I would say don't listen to left-wing and right-wing. It doesn't mean anything. I think that's a misnomer. Except in the case of SMC, I would say that it is fair to call them the most right-wing. Even I'd say to the right of groundwork, to be honest with you. Mike talks as if he could win anywhere. Not true. Huh? I am not a great candidate for a variety of reasons. The first is that my managerial style is bad in the sense that I intuitively don't like I don't know how to be nice. I'm very military. So I'm always biting my tongue and taking a chill pill. You know, I expect people to like think before they speak. So these are bad for managerial campaigns, right? I would need to have a good campaign manager. And I don't currently know any that I would trust. I wish DSA had a more centralized structure. I feel like the caucus divisions would be less bad. The thing is, I like I'm not even anti-SMC. It's just whenever I find myself strongly disagreeing with somebody on the timeline that's a DSA, they are an SMC member about 90% of the time. To Pennsylvania's Democratic nominees, congratulations. I'm excited to support strong leaders who will be partners in getting stuff done for Pennsylvania, whether it's here in our Commonwealth or in Washington. Come November, we'll make sure Democrats win big up and down the ballot. Congratulations to Chris Robb. It looks like he posted a Chris Robb. Okay. Can we have a little treat, Mike? Yes. Formation rejoin failure. Of course they're Growler pilots. Oh my God, dude. All right. Growler pilots are notoriously bad.
The wonk seat of these aircraft, 2 aircraft, one straight doing the wonky way these 2 aircraft reacted once they collided with each other. They're nearly vertical for a brief moment there before the ejection and then get heading straight down. Well, I believe, and I'm not sure on this, but the flight controls on the F-18 are so highly automated that once they suspect some sort of battle damage, the flight controls can start doing a lot of different odd things that may not necessarily be what the pilot is inputting to the flight controls at the time. Now, here was the schedule for the 2026 air show season for the Growler team: Mountain Home, Idaho, then Abbotsford in August, Madras, Oregon, and Pacific Beach, California. So it looks like they had 4 air shows on the schedule this year. In previous years, this team has had a lot more air shows each year. But my question is, why do we even have a Growler air show team at all? The F-18 Growler is an electronic warfare aircraft. We've only got 170 of them in stock. We're desperately needing them overseas right now. Now, just earlier today, there was a good...
All right, let's get back to like the more fun stuff, which is we're winning.
In Pennsylvania, House District 3, Chris Rabb, the progressive candidate endorsed by AOC, endorsed by progressive groups, has now advanced to the general election, besting Sharif Street, as well as Ayla Stanford, who, until the same-day vote came in, it looked like he was trailing, but he has now moved to first place. Again, this is significant because it speaks to the battle that's going on within the Democratic Party, Hallie, the battle for the soul of the Democratic Party,
that's right,
if you will. And it raises questions. This is a reliably blue seat.
Bluest in the House. I mean, it's,
it raises broader questions about whether this message resonates beyond a reliably blue seat.
Somebody like Sharif Street had been endorsed by the city Democrats.
So immediately, as he wins, she immediately tries to downplay the win.
Democratic Party, I think the mayor, former governor, you had...
Son of John Street.
That's right, Chris Rabb, progressive, backed by sort of that wing of the party in Philadelphia, handily sort of defeating his opponents in this race.
In Pennsylvania.
It's just been an overwhelming performance by Rabb on Election Day. The folks who went and turned out at the polls today, you could just see...
Which is exactly what I said in Hasan's chat. I said, it's actually a good thing that Stanford is doing well early. That means Street didn't bank establishment votes from early mail-in votes. I expect Rabb to win Election Day votes. That's exactly what happened.
He's now built nearly a 20,000 vote lead. With more to come. He's basically winning half of the Election Day vote. Stanford, who had done so well in the vote by mail, the floor just absolutely fell out for her in the Election Day, in that Election Day vote. Again, we talk about the diversity of this district. I mentioned this before. Slightly larger black population than white population. Both are substantial. And Rabb's message seems to be resonating particularly in the majority white precincts. That's where, where he has really turned it on with this Election Day vote has been in majority white precincts, where, again, he's getting upwards of 3/4 of the vote in the Election Day vote in those precincts here. He's not even winning in the majority black precincts, either overall or with the Election Day vote. Sharif Street's winning the majority black precincts here. In fact, right now, Rabb is running in 3rd place overall in majority black precincts with 28% of the vote. So he's really gotten it from the majority white precincts in the city of Philadelphia that are part of this district here, but just overwhelming support that he's seen on Election Day here. And yeah, this is a feather in the cap of that of the left wing of the Democratic Party. A victory here for somebody, aligned with the Democratic Socialists of America. It's just been an
easy peasy lemon squeezy. And notice how, again, the way the media covers this shit is truly kind of embarrassing.
And now you decide primary election night in Pennsylvania. The race in the Democratic primary for the U.S. House 3rd Congressional District has been called in the last 30 minutes. State Representative Chris Rabb, the presumptive winner with 44% of the vote, with 87 percent of the precincts or estimated votes counted. He's projected to beat out State Senator Sharif Street and Dr. Ayla Stanford and political newcomer and attorney Sean Griffith. So it's 11 o'clock. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jason Martinez.
And I'm Sheba Russell. We've got election results scrolling there at the bottom of your screen tonight as we closely track the key races in our region. Let's get out to our Shawnette Wilson live at Rabb's victory party in Germantown. Shawnette, how's the mood where you are?
Oh, it is a...
Wow, it's actually incredible. I don't see one video on MS Now about Rabb's win. Isn't that fucking incredible?
Party here in Germantown, Sheba and Jason. We just made it after Chris Rabb made his speech here tonight, his acceptance speech. We slid in and people were pouring out into the streets of Germantown. Give you a look behind me. You can see the crowd remains here tonight.
Notice that whenever you go to these progressive events, it's people under the age of 90.
Long after Chris has left the stage here, they are celebrating tonight a victory. A lot of them saying that this is a great move to have a progressive take the seat here and be the nominee for the Democratic Party. Many people today weren't sure which way this race was going to go, but his supporters here said that they knew all along as the vote starts to come in, he would move to the forefront. And that is exactly what he did. Let's take a listen to what he said from the stage tonight.
I'm looking at we the people.
Let's do full remarks, chat. Let's do the full remarks.
The city that birthed this imperfect union has shown a bright light that it's the many over the money. They ain't ready for us, folks. And we are just getting started. They told me this wasn't possible. That's what they said. I don't know who they are, but I know who we are. I'm looking at we the people. And I'm not talking about we the people 250 years ago. That was a much smaller we. I'm talking about the aggressive fabulosity of this we. See what I did there? There were moments along this 10-month journey that tried me, but I was reminded that tough times pass, but tough people last. And there was a moment a couple of months ago, not long ago, where I was on the precipice of withdrawing from this race. And there were people who showed up for me at my worst, in the depths of adversity. Good people who showed up when I needed them most. Not the least of which was my mom.
Mike, have I seen this? Yeah. We'll look at that later.
And she would not allow me to make that choice. Because my mother and those closest to me knew that for me in this race that I was walking in my purpose. And the purpose is so much bigger than the position. Positions come and go, but to be steadfast in your purpose, which is why I said that we just won. Because I assure you, I did not win tonight. We won. We won. We won. And this is not the end. This is just the beginning. Because I see you. I see you. I know what we're capable of. I see your beauty. I see your power. I feel your radiant love. Because that is what has inspired me in this journey. Those people closest to the pain. I see you, and I thank you. I just want to be the best damn congressperson I can be for the people. And we made this happen because of the people I have surrounded myself with. Mom, my loved ones, my family, all of those who hold me dear, and my campaign team. And when I say my campaign team, that radiates to all of my amazing volunteers as well. And it includes all of those amazing public servants, not politicians, because I didn't get a single endorsement from a politician. They can keep their endorsements. But I know some public servants. I know a Congresswoman Summer Lee, who is in the House. They didn't say she could win either. All of those electeds, those public servants, all of those amazing grassroots organizations, all of those members of organized labor, we do this in community. Because beyond this moment is movement. And we know how important movement is because we see what's going on right now on the federal level. We see the erosion of our rights and civil liberties. And we know that the only way we can move towards a multiracial democracy is by showing up for each other. And not just playing around the edges. We demand systemic change. And I have been critiqued along this campaign for being too radical, being too bold. They ain't seen nothing yet. And this has been a unique primary where for the first time in 35 years there was not an incumbent on the ballot. And I want to take a moment to thank my opponents. I want to thank my opponents It's not easy to run for office. And I thank all of them. I appreciated them. Intense moments and moments of levity.
The rabble.
I thank all of them.
I'm rabid for Rob.
I want to say, because we're about to party. I did not know what the outcome would be tonight. All right. But I know what justice looks like. And we don't do it alone. I chose to run because I felt the breath of my ancestors on the back of my neck. I carry my ancestors with me who've been fighting for racial justice in this nation for centuries and generations. But as much as I've been inspired by my ancestors, abolitionists, freedom fighters, civil rights activists, and aggressive badasses, I am also inspired by future generations. By the young people I'm looking at in this crowd and beyond.
There is no Republican on the ballot. There is no Republican on the ballot. The Republicans did not attempt to run a candidate.
I see you. There's an unbroken chain between the past, the present, and the future. And we have to dream big and organize hard to get everything that we deserve. And I am so thankful to be surrounded by so many loved ones, so many people who are dedicated to service and community and care and radiant love. My brother, but the real reason I ran was because of my sons. I love you. All right, before I start crying, let me just say that it's more than just vibes that made this happen. Nearly 8,000 people donated to my campaign. And not a single dollar came from a corporate PAC. Not a dime. It came from you. It came from you. And for all of those people who fought the good fight with me shoulder to shoulder, I see you. I thank you. And I love you. All the people who weren't supposed to come together. Jewish folk, Muslims, atheists. We're not supposed to be partying, but we do what we do, and we do it in community and radiant love. This is an aggressively diverse community here. This is what our district looks like. And we deserve the very best. They're going to try to tear us apart. We're not going to let that happen because we see our power when we believe in collective action. We are indomitable.
Indomitable. That's the right word.
All right. It's time to party. Thank you all, everyone. I am so moved. We did it. We did it. We did it.
I think one of the things about this is that people really don't understand. Like, they don't understand just how much his life has changed. Like, it's one of those things where you see this and you're like, oh, the city of Philadelphia is now ruled by a democratic socialist. Amazing. And Ostodox is out there in the trenches. This cowardly ass loser. What happened? What? I can't reply. What happened?
Oh, Democrats getting 10 for one. Democrats getting 10 for one. Democrats getting.
Wow. Unfortunate and embarrassing, as people will soon see. He's a fucking congressman, man. We had Dwight Evans as congressman. One of the, I mean, honestly, I would say that the energy level of Dwight Evans was like -50. The guy barely left his armchair. And these people call Chris embarrassing. Fucking losers. Why is Northeastern socialism goated? Because we live in real cities. Because the cities of the Northeast were built before the car. So there's like actual neighborhoods and communities and third spaces and pedestrian parks, and you know, there's like an actual city. Organized labor was strong there and created a culture. I mean, it's material, like literally. Mike, have you talked about Noah Sampson's lawsuit yet? No. And it's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy when you look at it, because Hasan Piker literally has presidential level motion. Now, I don't think he should run for president, but what I mean is, like, on a political level, he could draw people in. He could draw people in to a candidate and give attention and have people show up. Let's just compare and contrast. This was Cory Booker, senator from New Jersey, with the head of the Democratic Party, with the mayor of Philadelphia, and the room is empty.
So I am not confused. I am not distracted. I am not deflected. I am not detoured. I know the way to go. There is only one way, and that's street. I say one way, you say street. One way. Street. One way. Street. One way. Street. Let's send this man to Washington.
And by the way, this is something that I want to ask everybody. This is something that I want to ask centrists. So Sharif Street worked with the Republicans to gerrymander Pennsylvania to give the Republicans more seats. Why is Cory Booker coming to Pennsylvania to campaign for a guy who worked to give the Republicans more seats? I need to know. Like, serious question. State Senator Sharif Street is working with a key Republican on a plan that would boost his prospective congressional campaign at the expense of U.S. Rep. Brandon Boyle, a fellow Philly Democrat. Why would the Democratic National Party, why would the local Democrats, the machine Democrats, work to elect a guy who worked with Republicans to hurt the Democratic Party, unless it's a controlled opposition party? unless it's a fake party, unless centrist, moderate Democrats are a fraud. Now, I'm not talking about the voter, the random guy. If you think of yourself as moderate, you're probably not moderate, actually. You're probably not moderate. You just think you are because you've been told that on TV. But if we ask you, like, on issues, you would line up with the left. That's a lot of the confusion that people have, is they think they're moderate, but if you ask them about policy, they're not. 9 times out of 10. This is something that I've talked about a lot. There is no such thing as the moderate voter. I've posted about this a lot. There is no such thing as the moderate voter. Let me see if I can find this. This was a study of people who identified in a survey as moderate. The left-right spectrum is tilted. These two, I don't know if you can see by this category, this is left of center economically. This is right of center economically. Up is more socially conservative, down is more socially liberal. Okay? So social liberal, economic left, social liberal, economic left, socially right, economically right, socially left. Does that make sense? The tilting is annoying, but this is so the vast majority of people that are identify as moderate. Some of the people who identified as moderate are far left. Oh, I'm a moderate. And then you ask them questions, and they're like, I believe in seizing the means of production. Most people who identify as moderate are vastly economically left-wing. And so when somebody like Cory Booker says they're moderate, they think they're saying this, but they're actually over here. And notice, this is another thing to notice. Notice how there's almost no one who's a libertarian. I'm a fiscal conservative and a social liberal. But when you actually ask people an ideology quiz, no one's a libertarian. Moderate so often means I don't want to talk to someone who might be a political crank. That's what it means. When somebody calls themselves moderate, they're usually meaning about their personality is chill. They're not a fire breather like me. They're not yelling about politics. They're very chill. That's what they mean by moderate. So fiscal conservative, social liberal is the new I'm a centrist. It doesn't exist politically. It's a made up thing. They're just right wing. And left wing policies are the electable choice. So that is why AOC will win. And that's why FDR, who is rightly considered one of our most left-wing presidents economically, was the landslider of landsliders. That's why LBJ won a massive landslide. And you know what ended up costing him re-election? Was because he did a fucking war abroad. Everybody hated the war. Had he not done the war, he would have won another fucking landslide. And his VP almost won anyway, even though he dropped out late. I was referring to this meme because it's not a meme, it's true. My take on another Bernie run, he's too old. It's AOC, baby. Clyburn out. The South Carolina House has passed a 7R 0D. Honestly, chat, I gotta be honest with you, good. Jim Clyburn also betrayed the Democratic Party and tried to work with the Republicans to gerrymander South Carolina. James Clyburn protected his district at a cost to black Democrats. The scorpion stung his back. This is what these betrayers do. Notice that he's in the Democratic Party leadership. Do you think that serious question. I want you guys to ask yourself this question. Do you think a member of the Republican Party could work with Democrats to gerrymander their state to be more Democratic and advance his own career, making him more Republican, and then he would be hired into leadership in the Republican Party? I want you to think about that for a second. Would somebody who, as a Republican, work to gerrymander a state to make it more Democratic would be hired into the establishment of the Republican Party? The answer is, of course not. He would be primaried. He'd be out. And like, I guess, I thought they might even keep him in, chat. I thought they might even keep him in because James Clyburn is such a asset to the billionaire class. I thought they might protect him. Mike, they 100% know about you? Okay. Everybody wants me to watch this.
This is like a random question that I have with like MAGA influencers and stuff. Are there influencers on the left who they're kind of like afraid of as being like very like effective or like ones they want to take down?
Yeah, they are very scared of Hasan Piker.
Oh, they are?
That is like the one that they are scared of because Hasan has the ability to capture what I believe to be someone like the alt-right men as well. Like there is a crossover between the people who gravitate towards a Nick Fuentes or a Tucker Carlson that could find better solace in someone like Hasan. They're terrified of Hasan. Terrified.
That's fascinating to me. Oh, wow. That's interesting. Yeah, I know there is crossover.
I mean, of course. What? Of course they do. Assad is like more masculine than them, nicer than them, cooler than them, more intelligent than them, and his policies are better. No shit. This is why, like, a lot of people, one of the things I love about myself is that I'm a little bit self-aware. Not completely, but a little bit. And so when I see Hasan succeeding, I don't consider, I never felt any jealousy or envy ever. I just think that's fucking weird. He's my friend. And the better he does, the better I'll do. And like, honestly, he's good at his soul. And I know he doesn't have a fucking bigoted bone in his body. So anytime someone who's trashing him, it pisses me the fuck off. Maybe a little bit more than even him, honestly. I'm glazing him too much. Because he's not, I'm pugilistic. He's not. And I like that about him. If he was more like me, he probably would have hated my guts by now. You are a better gamer and know more about music. Honestly, the one thing that Hasan and I have in common is that I am fucking don't know shit about music, man. I don't know shit about music. Like I am a music not knower. It's the capitalist mindset to tear down others to build up your own brand instead of working to uplift others to be happy when they succeed. Well, the thing is, like, the fact that I've been like that has led to me succeeding, right? The fact that I always defended Hasan and always because he was right, not out of personal loyalty, but out of intellectual consistency. He was correct in his arguments. He was right. And when he was wrong, I disagree with him. I yelled at him about liking John Ossoff or Gretchen Whitmer or Andy Bashir. I disagree with him all the time. I was more pro-China than him for years. And I eventually changed his mind. And this is something that, you know, he doesn't give me credit for, which is kind of fucked up. You know, it's kind of fucked up. But here, I've said this many times with Zoran Mandani. It's Mamdani, chat. Get it right. Hey, what the fuck? This isn't it. This isn't the right one. Why is YouTube breaking? Fuck you. Oh my God, I'm going to lose it. Has someone who's been like fair towards China for the long... Yeah, look at this shit. Look at this shit.
Committee, aka Michael from Pennsylvania, is so much more of a China glazer than me. It's crazy.
It's true.
He eats Xi Jinping's so much sometimes. Even I'm like, come on, bro, just dial it back a little bit. Like, you're gonna get us arrested. You know what I mean? Yeah, Mike from Pennsylvania, more like Mike from Beijing.
My goal this year is to go to China and become a white monkey and just stay there. Pennsylvania.
That motherfucker calls me Mike from Taiwan now. Now that everybody else is coming along, I was the fucking original leftist who was correct too early. Now motherfucking Hasan is like, oh, Mike from Taipei, Mike from Hong Kong. Even though, because when he was in China, I called him Hong Kong Hossie because he got stuck in Hong Kong, and it hit so well, it critical hit. So now he's all butthurt, okay? But he used to call me Mike from Beijing, but it's okay. You know, it's like I converted him to Islam and then he made the Hajj first, and now he acts like he's the better Muslim. I converted you, motherfucker! You can't China Max if you've never been to China. I succumb to callous thinking that the loss of MASSIE is good overall for Dems since the Republicans showing their ass and losing a popular figure. I personally think that the MASSIE defeat is bad. I could cope, but the MASSIE defeat is actually bad. Even though he did really well and he fought back really well, his defeat is actually bad. The race was 55-45 in the middle of Kentucky. Nearly half the Republican voters voted against Trump, and you think that no one in MAGA has rebelled. I think you might be the blindest person in America. I get it. You hate them. Congrats. Also, congrats on helping Israel divide us. Here's my general feeling. I actually think Cenk is right. I actually think Cenk is right in this point. And the reason why I say that is they spent $50 million and they only got 55%. And they had like the entire Republican establishment blasting MASSIE. Right. And so what does that mean? First of all, I think that both people are right, actually, to be honest. I hate to be a centrist, but sometimes everyone's correct. Or everybody has an element of correctness. The element of correctness that Cenk is pointing out is that actually the Republican Party is kind of rebelling against Trump a little bit. But the people that point to the victory, because people are binary, right? If you win by 1 vote or you win by a quadrillion votes, you won. You're the rep. It's like if you graduate at the bottom of your medical school class, there's still a doctor at the end of the day. Okay? You either crossed that finish line and did it, or you didn't. And so a lot of people are going to fixate on the binary that Massie lost, especially reps, right? A lot of reps are going to look at that and they're going to say, Massie was defeated. I need to be careful about opposing Trump, especially on Israel. And that's going to change the way Republican reps act, right? Which, by the way, makes the Republican Party even more fragile. It's bad for them, actually, in the long run. And that's why Cenk is right. In the long run, the Republican Party, the reason why they've been so successful over the last 30 years is because they were actually more democratically responsive to their base. This is my most controversial take. The Republican Party base got fed red meat, which pumped them up and made them more excited and maximized their side of the political spectrum. Everybody who was right of center got pumped up and got organized and got turned out. Right? There isn't a well of right-wing voters out there that hasn't been touched. And that's because they have been feeding red meat to their base very successful for 30 years. I mean, Donald Trump is really Donald Trump is the most Republican politician ever. He is an accurate reflection of the Republicans. He's corrupt. He is evil. He is a hypocrite. He is narcissistic. He's stupid. He represents the Republican Party base in toto, okay? He is the full embodiment of every vice of American life. That's why he's winning, because he's authentic. He's authentically a piece of shit.
In here with the most powerful man in the world. The second thing I'll tell you about him, just as kind as the good shepherd. I'm in here with the most powerful man in the world.
You know, Chad, I've been watching The Boys with Vio, and all I can say is that it's not even really satire. I didn't see the finale, so I don't know what happens. Don't spoil. It's not even satire at this point. Pastor leads wild dedication ceremony for Trump's giant gold statue at his own golf course. I mean, legitimately, if Donald Trump is Antichrist maxing. All right, let's talk about this. Let's talk about the Massie race.
All right. Listen, I would have come out sooner, but I had to call my opponent and concede, and it took a while to find Ed Galrein in Tel Aviv.
He's right. He's fucking right. I gotta pee.
All right. Listen. I would have come out sooner, but I had to call my opponent and concede, and it took a while to find Ed Galrein in Tel Aviv. I did get the call through, though. I have called and conceded the race. We've been honorable the whole time, and we're going to stay that way. You know, welcome to the most expensive congressional primary ever in the 250-year history of this country. It's not just the most expensive. This thing went on longer than Vietnam. It started 9 months ago, and they didn't even have a candidate, and they decided they want to take me out. I want to start by thanking the volunteers who have put so much effort into this. Some of you came from all across the country. Some of you are homegrown. I love all of you. I see how this is going to work. I'm going to have to not quit talking, or you'll start doing it.
I want to thank my staff, too. Some of my staff have been with me from the very first race in 2012, and they have done so much. We've never had, contrary to all the BS you've heard, we've never had a single ethics complaint filed against me or my staff in 14 years. I want to thank the donors. Now listen, I'd name them all, but there's 50,000 donors, okay? We didn't lose this race because we didn't have enough money. You know, it is the most expensive race ever. I think when they add it up, right now they can count 35 million. I think when they add it up, it's going to be a lot more than that, because on our side, we know we spent more than 15 million. And we were able to go toe-to-toe. There was never a week that we got outspent more than 2-1 in this entire race once it got underway. And that's also, it wasn't just the grassroots donors. We had a long time, one of my longest friends, he went through a rough spell, and I never left him. I always supported him. And he actually started the Super PAC, the one that nobody knows who runs it, Cliff Maloney. If you're around, would you come up here? Maybe I can get him out here to take some credit. Or if he's in the crowd, just pick him up and surf him over here. Cliff.
Mike, watch the by the way, Dems welcome Massie with open arms. Wrong. Why is that chatter wrong? He's anti-Israel. Correctamundo, chat. You only get invited to the Utah party if you are a Zionist footstool.
I see one of my online influencer heroes, Bobby Sauce, over here. There were a lot of surreal moments in this race, and frankly in being in Congress, but being in a side-by-side racing through the woods with Bobby Sauce was definitely on my, it wasn't even on my bucket list. It was amazing. And getting to that point, I want to thank the influencers who came all this way and produced all the videos and got out the young vote. I want to thank my family. That's who we have arrayed back here. My grandbabies, all three of them. She's clapping too. It's a little bit overwhelming for them, but they are what recharges my batteries when I come back from Washington, D.C., these grandbabies. And that's what we're fighting for, really, is the next.
Hey, Mike, is Massie not allowed to run as a write-in due to a sore loser law? Kentucky seems like a state with a sore loser law, but let me look. Kentucky sore loser law. Explicit sore loser. Election. Certain primary candidates barred from having names on regular election ballots. Section not applicable to presidential preference primary candidates. No candidate who has been elected or disqualified for the nomination for any office in a primary shall have his or her name placed on the ballots in the succeeding regular election as a candidate for the same office for the nomination to which he or she was a candidate in the primary, except that if a vacancy occurs in the party's nomination for which he or she was a candidate in the primary, his or her name may be placed on the ballots for the regular election as a candidate of that party if he or she has been duly made such party's nominee after the vacancy occurs as provided in Kentucky Revised Statute 118 subsection 105. There you go. Can't do it. I mean, he could try and sue, but he would lose.
Next generation and the next generation after that. But I have to especially thank my wife, Carolyn. Her parents knew what they were doing when they named her. Her middle name is Grace. And, but she's a fighter. I mean, she's been tweeted at twice by the chief executive of the most powerful country in the world. She blames me for that because I didn't invite him to the wedding. But also, she voted this morning, and she came out and she said, well, that was a wild experience. That was great. I never imagined that would happen. And I said, what happened? She said, I got to vote for my husband and my favorite congressman. I said, that's practically a throuple. In all seriousness, walking out here and seeing all of you has really energized me, and it has all along. But why am I hopeful right now? Because if you looked at the crosstab in the polling, and I'm sure if we had exit polling, it would show the same thing. We have the younger demographic. You are patriots, and you will inherit this country, and you will make it better, and I am hopeful because of that. Thank you. We accidentally, I think, didn't mean to do this. It started out as an election, and it turned into a movement. I mean, I think people, if you're not tired of politics, if you're not jaded, if you're not cynical, and so many people are, the people that want somebody that'll go along to get along. I've never heard of that strategy, but that seems to be what the voters want. That's what's been.
Oh, I mean, it's because I actually want people to. This is something that I've been saying for a long time, which makes people very unhappy. It's part of the reason why I'm fighting with people in DSA LA, is they think that people have these deep personal connections with their politicians, and you got to run for the small stuff before you run for the big stuff, and blah blah blah. It's not true. It hasn't been true for 40 fucking years. Okay, people are watching international news and international political conversations. They are not, I'm sorry, they're just not talking about their local city attorney. They just are not, okay? They aren't. So if you want to have the left grow in America, they need to be making big swings. That's why AOC has to run for president and not for Senate. AOC running for Senate would be a fine thing, except that means the left lane is completely open and we're going to get a centrist Democrat. So the reaction to fascism is going to be a centrist Democrat. That's going to lead to uber fascism. And we're going to spend 4 years losing power because the DSA will not have a coherent argument that they're actually going to wield power. That's when people get excited about your power, your ideas, when your ideas might actually happen. If they're just theoretical, if they're just on a page, if they're just in a small book group, regular people don't give a shit. They've got lives, okay? If you want to have your movement grow, you've got to go for the gold. You got to make the big swings. You got to run for mayor. You got to run for Congress. You got to run for governor. You got to run for president. You have to run for senator. And if there are structural impediments, like, for example, if the jungle primary is so bad, then the Democratic Socialists of America need to campaign against the jungle primary. That's kind of why I think it might kind of be funny if the Republicans shut the Democrats out in some important race because of the jungle primary. Because we need to get rid of the jungle primary if our ideology is going to work. Because if the Democrats in California can keep power in the hands of centrists by doing what? They run a jungle primary, then they ally with the Republicans in the general election. And the California, even though it's voting for Bernie Sanders for the presidency in 2020, is electing Karen Bass type candidates. It's because the centrists are able to ally with the Republicans implicitly. We need ranked choice primaries. If NYDSA did what LADSA did, Cuomo would have won. Exactly. Cuomo would have won. That's correct. The reason why DSA is growing again is because New York DSA went for a race they had no business going for. When Zohran Mamdani announced his mayoral campaign, it was a fucking joke. I remember when I saw his first ad, I was like, oh yeah, I recognize him from the Gravel Institute video on housing. I really like this guy. He's really cool. I hope he does well. You can go and look at my tweets. But I didn't think it was a real campaign. Nobody did. Until he started to get a little bit of momentum. He started to get a little bit of excitement. He started to maybe he did well on social media. We started getting some buzz from from going viral on social media, which is an international phenomenon. He was injected with like real motion. Then Hasan went to New York and sat down with him. And then his fans started looking into it. Millions of Hasan fans started looking into Zohran. More and more people got excited. His charisma was able to build him up more and more and more until he fucking won the whole goddamn thing. But there's no winning the whole goddamn thing without launching the campaign. And for the love of God, we have got to be more ambitious. We've got to be more ambitious. The local shit ain't it anymore. Now, I'm not saying we shouldn't run people for local offices. We absolutely should. Of course we should. Of course we should. But they should be a side dish to the main course. You're more likely to elect DSA members to Congress, and if you have state legislators, you're more likely to elect people to city council and state legislature if you also have people running for Congress and you run a coordinated campaign, meaning you pool your resources, you pool your volunteers. You know, if I knock on your door and I say I'm running for a city attorney, but I'm also saying, but here's our slate, here's our DSA endorsed slate, vote for this guy, vote for this guy, vote for this guy. That's how you do it. And then, by the way, if you have your most charismatic candidate in your highest office and they get national attention, that injects more people into the coordinated campaign. That's how you're going to get big change. We can't make big change in an incremental fashion. It'll take decades. And then there's the other factor, which is the thermostatic effect, which is our politics is going to fall in and out of favor based on conditions. There's always a sort of anti-incumbent thermostatic, like the other side gets excited and we get complacent when we win. We have to get as much power as we can when the getting's good. We have to implement as many policies as we can when we have that opportunity. We don't get these waves often. We're talking about once every decade max. That's an optimistic number. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but the Republican Party is going off the fucking rails, guys. They're anti-democratic. They're fascist. Donald Trump is stealing money from the Treasury right now. He's not acting like he ever plans to be out of power.
And promised to them, but not the young voters. I mean, we stirred up something. There is a yearning in this country for somebody who will vote for principles over party. You all don't like bullies, and you don't tolerate them, and I love you for it. You also, yeah. They couldn't, listen. Hey. If I'd known this speech was going to be this fun to give, I would have come out 15 minutes sooner. Look, for 14 years, those SOBs in Washington tried to buy my vote. They couldn't buy it.
It's so funny to be the libertarian guy and be like, I don't want them to buy my vote, but I think they should have the absolute right to try. They should be able to do that. Unlimited corporate cash in campaigns, unlimited lobbying, unlimited bribing. I'm a libertarian.
Why did the race get so expensive? Because they decided to buy the seat. And it got real expensive for them. Look, they used a lot of dirty tricks, but we stayed the course. We didn't bend a knee. We didn't throw a foul ball. We didn't do any of those things. We didn't kneecap anybody. We had lots of opportunities to try a lot of stuff like that, and we never did it. We ran a clean race. Hey. And there's, by the way, after 18 months of a blackout, of not letting me on Fox, they finally let me on Fox today, 4 hours into the election. Hey, their slop is selling, so they'll keep selling it. But listen, I got to watch Fox also for the first time in 18 months. And there was the president talking about, by the way, while gas is almost $5 and diesel's almost $6, they're talking about this big ballroom they're going to build, and it looks like the Roman Empire, architecture from the Roman Empire. I see a few analogies there, and people are just trying to make ends meet. But we were...
I think the problem that MASSIE has is that it's incoherent, right? Your politics are incoherent, man. You can see the problem with corporate lobbying. You can see the problem with wealth concentration. You can see the problem with buying elections. But then you say that's good, actually. The mental gymnastics he has to go through.
Promised that Miriam Adelson would pay for that ballroom, but she's... She spent so much money in this race, they're going to have to reduce the footprint of that thing. But here's one thing I saw on Fox. They were saying, oh my goodness, you know, we're ready for war. We're about to restart this war. We were supposed to restart this war today, but we can't restart this war today. The war can't start today. They said we got to wait a day. And then it occurred to me, where was the Secretary of War yesterday? He was here. Listen. Wait. No. Look on the bright side. No more wars.
Like, ladies and gentlemen, this is what, like, I think, like, you know, it's something that I've been saying a lot with the elder millennial Gen X doomer type people. Guys, we're gonna fucking win. We're gonna fucking win. And you need to get your shit together and stop being pessimistic. It's embarrassing. We're going to fucking win.
No more wars. No more wars. Guys, knock that off. You're gonna make me feel good about losing. What I wanted to do was give you all credit. When they saw the influencers here, they panicked. They sent the Secretary of War here, and you stopped the war for a day.
What a joke. By the way, that's a violation of that's a violation of so many laws to have a cabinet secretary campaigning. But why? I mean, of course.
All right. We know we don't want a war, and we know why young people and middle-aged people are against the next war, because we'd be the ones fighting it. They're trying to bring back the draft. Screw that. We're not going to fight. We're not going to fight some other country's wars, are we? No. What else do we stand for? We don't want to send our money overseas. Okay, I'll go for that. I've got a bill to do that. I've also got a bill to end the Department of Education. Rand Paul says he wants to pass a law that you need one day to read 10 pages of every bill. I asked Rand, what are you going to do about my bill that's one sentence long to end the Department of Education? That'd be like 5 minutes to read that bill.
If you want to know what it looks like in a place without a Department of Education, it's the voters that just defeated you.
By the way, do you know how many pages the Epstein Files Transparency Act was? 2 pages.
I remember when you called the vibe shift last year. Win. I don't know why. I don't know. I feel like we're going to win. I don't know why. You know, clip this in a year or two, and maybe I'm just crazy, but it honest to God feels like we're gonna win. I could just feel the energy, and I could feel the way that people are turning away from corporate media, which was the last way that Democrats could control their base. And it feels like people are finally just turning away from it in a really fundamental way. It feels like we're gonna win. That was last year. Looks like I was right. Like I was fucking right. Now I have less subscribers than I do. I had more subscribers last year than I do now. What the fuck's that? What the helly? What the helly? The economy times are tougher. What the fuck is this? Green Bass guy, thank you for the 20 bomb. All right, I'm sorry, chat. The Massie shit is boring the fuck out of me. Massie's boring. We'll finish it.
We don't want, we're tired of meddling overseas. We can't afford it. Our empire will collapse if we keep sending our money to other countries. I never picked a fight with the country that's tried to take me out here because I've never voted for foreign aid to any country. We got to take care of America first. America first. America first. America first. America first. America first. By the way, you remember that organization that Klaus Schwab started called the World Economic Forum? They said you should eat bugs. Do you want to eat bugs? They said you'll own nothing and be happy about it. You want to do that? Well, guess what happened? Guess what happened to Klaus's CEO? He was in the Epstein files. He had to resign. We took out the CEO of the World Economic Forum with a 2-page bill. What else are we for? Look, for years I've been standing up for the Second Amendment, the First Amendment, Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment, the 10th Amendment. I just realized the 7th Amendment is under attack. It's because I serve on the Judiciary Committee. The 7th Amendment is your right to a jury trial. They've taken it away for vaccines. If you get hurt, you can't sue for vaccines. They're trying to take it away for pesticides. They're trying to take it away for these data centers. No.
It's called tort reform. You libertarians love that shit. You libertarians love that shit. What do you mean?
We've been fighting that back. So that's an amendment that, frankly, I didn't think I was going to have to fight for, but I've been fighting for it in D.C., and we need to keep fighting for the 7th Amendment, too. These corporations want get-out-of-court free cards. We're not going to give them one. What else is part of our coalition? Cutting DOGE, cutting spending. They ran DOGE out of town. Elon Musk found out it was easier to land a rocket backwards. It was easier to get a car to drive itself. It was easier to put internet on Antarctica than it was to cut $100 of spending in Washington, D.C. It's a tough problem, but we're not going to give up on that either. Maha. Is anybody here for Maha? Does anybody want to eat poison? No. Do you want the government telling you what to eat? No. Do you want the government telling you to put a needle in your arm? No. I don't either. And that's why I've been fighting all of that stuff. We need food freedom. We need medical freedom. We need all of those freedoms. And we need basic decency. We need basic decency. That's what the Epstein Files Transparency Act was all about. By the way, today is the 6-month anniversary of the Epstein Files Transparency Act. We've taken out 24 CEOs, an ambassador, a prince, a prime minister, a minister of culture, and that was just 6 months. I got 7 months left in Congress. When did bipartisanship become a dirty word in this country? It never should be. By the way,
trying to get hired at CNN, needs a job.
I'm not even sure that I'm bipartisan. Bi means you like both. I might be transpartisan because I can't identify with either some days. That's the great thing about the polls being closed. I can't run an ad where I claim to be trans. Transpartisan, thank you very much. I don't know.
This is a libertarian candidate.
Which cloakroom to go in. So, but look, if you know, I bet you've been through, some of you studied political science. By the way, that's not a real science. I'm a political science denier. If you're already halfway through that degree, double major in theater and call it political theater. Then you can serve on the Oversight Committee, the Judiciary Committee. You can be on the whip team. What's the difference between a used car salesman and a member of the whip team? The used car salesman knows when he's lying. They go around telling everybody, oh, that good stuff's in the bill. Oh, that bad stuff's not in the bill. I don't blame them. They haven't read the bill. They're not lying. They don't know they're lying. Anyways, bipartisanship, we need to bring this country together. It is not, there's too much of the uniparty in Washington, D.C. What we need is a unity party.
I mean, honest to God, chat, like, there's the only reason AIPAC was able to win this district was because of the unprecedented amount of money that they spent. Like, numbers are starting to lose meaning because we're talking about a state enterprise. And billionaires have gained so much wealth over the last 20 years that it's almost hard for a regular person to understand. Like, our political system is breaking because there's so much money that's now available to bribe people into power that I don't even know how you can respond to that.
Look,
the most expensive primary in history is probably going to be a reoccurring theme now, similar to the hottest year on record, and for the exact same reason. And until we break the power of capital, and I mean truly and fundamentally break it, and that means we've got to expropriate. We have to expropriate the wealth. Jeff Bezos needs his wealth taken. Elon Musk needs his wealth taken. Not a small amount, almost all of it. 90% expropriative tax. There needs to be serious clawbacks. And we need a maximum wealth number. I don't think a person should be able to have $1 billion. Look, we need to get rid of the monetary system, period. Listen, we have not achieved a economic developmental level that is equal enough across the world. Or like the monetary system will become irrelevant when we actually have development in this fucking world. I tend to not fixate on specific things like that because I don't think I think it's being doctrinaire. I don't think you should be doctrinaire. I think what the Chinese have proved is that you need to be flexible. You need to focus on outcomes, not on doctrines that you hold to.
We ran a race that you can be proud of. You have to apologize to nobody tomorrow for anything you did. And we kept smiling the whole time. When I was called a moron at the prayer breakfast, I said, I'm glad I'm in his prayers. That would be my advice to you all. Don't dig in. Don't get mad. Don't even try to get even. Just stay on your course. Get our stuff done. Get the things you care about done. We weren't really running against Ed Galrine. We weren't running against Donald Trump. We were running for what we believe in. Listen, if you always vote with the president, if the legislative branch always votes with the president, we do have a king. If the legislative branch always votes whichever way the wind is blowing, then we have mob rule. But if the legislative branch and the representatives and the senators that serve with it always follow the Constitution, we have a republic. USA. Why are all the loud ones in the front? I could have heard you in the back. Listen, I want to leave you with this. Oh, wait. I want to have a toast. Does anybody have their glasses? If you don't, I saw a few glasses. Okay. This is the one scandal. This is the one scandal they never figured out on me. I get my milk from the Amish cartel.
Now he's drinking raw milk. It'll be so funny when Massie dies from his from the shits he gets from this raw milk.
And I don't pay for it with Federal Reserve notes. I trade peaches for dairy.
Bro, he's breaking out all the... My God, chat. My Stefan Molyneux reaction podcast. If you want to understand brains like this, there's a reason why that he's lost. The reaction podcast right now. Our latest episode is on Stefan Molyneux. Go join right now. You'll understand libertarians. And where they all went is the rest of them became fascist. Massie is the last living libertarian.
And what I want to do is this is a toast in honor of my late wife. I introduced the raw milk bill, and the milk lobby came after me viciously. They said there wouldn't be enough hospitals for all the kids that would be sick and dying if we had raw milk. But the problem with that is it's already legal in a bunch of states, and I've been drinking it for years. So,
actually brain dead. Actually brain dead. This is like you saying, I've had unprotected sex with randos at the bar for years, and I never caught anything, and none of them got pregnant. Like, that's the same. That's the same argument. And it's like, even if that were true, that's called luck, you dumb fuck. We make public health determinations based on population level data, you dumbass piece of shit. Criminy!
My late wife's Google alerts were going off. She was getting all this bad press about me up there in Washington, D.C., and she was worried for me. And I've got a pretty thick skin, but she texted me one of those stories, and she said, OMG, I didn't realize the lactose lobby was so intolerant. So let's have a drink.
This is the most libertarian ass shit. Thomas Massie drinking a big glass of raw milk at his concession speech. The last libertarian.
I decided before today that we were going to win or lose today, and we would win either way, whether... Because... Not again. You know, when I try to tell my grandson to be quiet tonight, he is not going to listen. He'd probably be saying, Massie, Massie. Here's what I want to leave you with. We won. We won because we started a movement. We showed people that if you're under 50, you want to save this country. But But what happened today was God's will. It couldn't happen if God didn't want it to.
Anybody who wants you to work with these guys is dumber than fucking dirt, man. Like if he wants to vote for the anti-Israel bill we write, okay, cool. But the idea that this could be rehabilitated or explained, it's fucking stupid. He's a moron. What do you want me to say? I'm glad he was able to fight the Zionists to make them waste some money. But like, Jesus Christ. God doesn't give a shit about your election, man.
So
this is all I hear.
All right, man, this should go without saying. It should, but unfortunately, you fucking level 1 rookie bitch ass commentators on Twitter, I don't understand it. You not fooling a libertarian by bringing up them bitch ass roads. How many times is it that we say we oppose taxation, and the first goddamn level 1 rookie childish kindergarten ass bitch made argument that you throw out there is, what about the roads? You must drive on the roads. You must hate the roads. You think we ain't feel all the things that could stump libertarians, which tend to be smarter people. They tend to get that by way of economic reasons. And you somehow think that the thing that's gonna stump us and be like, damn, fuck this libertarian shit, is the motherfucking roads. Jesus Christ.
This isn't even my favorite clip about libertarians talking about roads. This is like, honestly, a bottom tier clip. No. Not the driver's license. I mean, there's this one. This is a good one, but they also had something about roads. They literally say jetpacks.
Mr. Peterson, I have a feeling I know how this answer is going to be. Should someone have to have a government-issued license to drive a car?
Hell no.
Dr. Feldman.
A car is like a gun or anything else. As long as you're using it right and not using it to hurt other people, you should have a right to use it. A license and a permit is just another way to get some money and inconvenience to people.
I mean, like, honest to God, this is Thomas Massie's ideology, chat.
Mr. McAfee.
I don't think licenses are required. However, if you are under 16 and your parents say you can drive and you haven't done it before, you should put a flashing pink light on your roof.
Sir, that's a regulation. Who's going to enforce the flashing pink light rule? Are you going to have the police? Are you going to fund police who go around and look for failure to flash the pink light? And what if they fail to flash the pink light? Are you going to arrest them? Are you going to fine them, therefore taxing them? Sounds like a communist! Try to regulate!
Least, so we can get out of your way. But that at the most.
Mr. Perry.
The government requires licenses for far too many things. The government requires licenses for people to broadcast radio. The government requires licenses to get married. They require a license to drive. What's next? Requiring a license to make toast in your own damn toaster? Absolutely not.
Like, this is what Thomas Massie believes. By the way, okay, can we just look at the average libertarian? You notice how they're all smiling? Like, they have this weird sadistic smile. It's like what I would call like pedophile smile. Like, that's really the only way to describe it. Like, they're about to molest someone. Like, they look so fucking creepy because even to them, it's dumb as fuck, right? Listening to their own dumb as fuck ideology, they get like pleasure out of it. Dupers don't, like, what the fuck is wrong with you, idiots? And it's crazy to me because it's like, I remember when I first drove a car, and I know how much skill I have now after thousands of hours driving cars. And obviously, when I first got into a car, I didn't have the like kinesthetic sense. I didn't have the feel for it yet. I didn't understand exactly how much I would need to, you know, turn the wheel or push to the pedals. And I had to learn that from experience. I had to learn the laws of the rules of the road. But what are the rules of the road? The rules of the roads are consensus behavior, so we don't bang into each other. I know if you're going to make a left, you have to yield to oncoming traffic, right? Everybody understands, hey, if I'm making a left, I yield to oncoming traffic. These are rules that we tell each other in order to have safer driving. I was a card-carrying libertarian because I was anti-war and pro-Israel. It was a stop on my deconstruction journey away from my conservative evangelical upbringing. Yes, I many people made that path. In fact, I talk about that in the newest episode of the Reaction Podcast, Stefan Molyneux. I talk about the Ron Paul revolution and how people went from, they were desiring a change, an anti-war candidate, a pro-legalization candidate. That was the libertarian hook for young people online, your average Redditor who loved Ron Paul. Can you play this real quick?
Any attempt to restrict drinking and driving here is viewed by some as downright undemocratic.
It's kind of getting communist when a fella can't put in a hard day's work, put in 11, 12 hours a day, and then get in your truck and at least drink 1 or 2 beers.
They're making it laws where you can't drink when you want to. You have to wear a seatbelt when you're driving. And pretty soon we're going to be communist country. Communist country.
These are the people voting for Donald Trump, by the way. This is literally it. And AOC said something about how the North needs to address the South. And this is what we're talking about. We've got a third world carbuncle hanging off of our ball sack, and it needs lanced. Because if we keep letting these white racists in the South reproduce their racism without reconstruction, they're going to destroy this country.
So the entire panel is asked whether or not government should build roads. Now, of course, this is a dilemma for libertarians who think, because they realize that if the market was to determine whether or not roads should be built, then our highway system would be a shadow of what it is. Our road system would be even just like a slice of what it is. Housing density would have to be huge. We'd have vast swaths of land that would be undeveloped. Now, I don't know. I mean, I'm not so sure that wouldn't be so bad if we had just, land undeveloped, untouched, just federally owned land. But I guess presumably in their mind, it would be owned by, like Peter Thiel would own, I don't know,
Montana,
half of the landmass of the United States, and we could just go and get maybe hunting permits.
That would be gunned by managed by paramilitaries.
Yeah, we would just go and get hunting permits to see if we could take one of Peter Thiel's deer or something to eat. But nevertheless, the best way to answer any question that presents a dilemma to your philosophy as a libertarian.
Mike, what's the best way to organize in my community? Start a DSA chapter? It depends on what type of community. There's almost certainly some sort of local shit going on. If there's not, then you would need to gather and find other people. I think DSA chapters are an amazing opportunity, but it can be difficult unless you have an objective, right? Why are you getting together? You need to have a project. You need to have an objective that people in your community are going to be excited about. You need to have a campaign. You need to have a goal.
Listening to libertarians who call into this program is to suggest that some form of a jetpack will make all of this moot.
Mr. McAfee, should government, whether state or local, fund infrastructure, roads, bridges, sewers, electrical grids? And if government does not do it, who or what will?
Each of those are separate problems. We have interstate highways. There are issues involved in right-of-way and various intricate problems involving eminent domain. So we have to address that differently than local problems with our
They're so stupid. They just ramble bullshit. Eminent domain is when the state takes property for public use. That's pretty anti-libertarian on its face, man.
Solar power and our new technologies, local facilities can be created to generate that. So, but the government should, at the maximum, be involved in the minimum part of this entire issue.
Pause it as they applaud for him. Let me translate what he said. Nothing. Nothing. He might as well have just said, trope? Is trope? Can I just say trope? Okay.
Mr. Perry,
I'll do my best to answer this in 30 seconds. We're in a hotel. Hotels thrive on having customers stay in their hotel, which means people need to get to their hotel, which means that people are probably coming to visit and do stuff. All of these places thrive on customers, meaning that they need a flat surface for all of their customers to come and go from. Businesses will be incentivized to have these flat surfaces called roads. We don't need to steal the money. Let the people who thrive from them pay for them.
So if this makes sense to you, I'm not going to call you a moron, but please do express it in the chat. If it makes sense to you, please go ahead and say this makes sense in the chat. And the reason why this is stupid is because it betrays somebody who hasn't even thought about economics, even from the most rudimentary level. In economics, we have the concept known as an externality, right? And the problem with this kind of thinking is that it results in a much smaller economic activity than the alternative, right? Because when you build a road for one purpose, that road exists for other purposes. And so travel becomes easier. So a road creates opportunities for travel that wouldn't have been profitable without the road to happen, thereby increasing the amount of activity that happens. So that causes a positive externality, meaning you invested the road for one purpose. It's actually going to cause an economic growth for all sorts of other purposes, right? And the more roads you have, the more connected the roads are, the more positive externalities from what's known as the network effect. So each road becomes more valuable due to the effect of being connected to other roads, right? So in a society without government investment, you're going to have less roads available, and the network of roads is going to be less valuable, and the number of effects, the number of connections is going to be less valuable. The amount of travel is going to be reduced, and therefore the economy will be smaller. Now, how do we get people together to invest in the roads, right? The answer is, if we do it like this, much less roads than necessary will be built. Or in other words, much less roads that would be profitable for society as a whole will be built, because unless you can internalize the profit, no one's going to do it. That's why we charge taxes, because we can make investments for society that end up redounding to a positive multiplier effect, meaning they result in more economic activity than they cost in tax. So everybody in a society gets wealthier. More economic activity is able to happen because we do that. Here's an example of a society that's the complete opposite of a libertarian, a communist society.
The Xi'an-Yan'an high-speed railway officially began operations on Friday, bringing northern Shanxi province fully into China's high-speed rail era. For local residents, this is a long-anticipated moment.
This is my first time taking a high-speed train, and I'm really excited.
It's the very first run of this line. We came especially to take the inaugural train and experience it for ourselves.
It was unimaginable before that it now takes just 1 hour and 8 minutes to get to Xi'an.
Northern Shanxi is located on the Loess Plateau, a region known for its deeply carved terrain. It has long-faced transportation constraints. Crossing this complex landscape, the railway showcases advanced engineering solutions developed for the challenging geological conditions.
More than 90% of the Xi'an-Yan'an high-speed railway consists of bridges and tunnels. Engineers also had to overcome technical challenges caused by fragile and unstable soil. To address these difficulties, innovative technologies and new construction techniques were widely applied throughout the project.
Just as high-speed rail has been reshaping everyday life across China,
In the same way that your local chip shop can't be compared to the
strengthen connections between urban and rural areas, and bring greater access and opportunities to communities along the route.
This new railway is part of a much bigger picture. With its launch, China's operational high-speed rail network now exceeds 50,000 kilometers, turning large-scale infrastructure into everyday benefits for people across the country.
Here is one of China's newest train stations.
Local chip shop can't be compared to the scale of McDonald's, and the bus stop around the corner is in a slightly different league to LAX. No other train station lives up to the ludicrous size of Chongqing East. China's new high-speed rail hub is absolutely enormous. It's spread across 1.22 million square meters. That's 6 times bigger than Grand Central in New York, nearly 15 times larger than Europe's grandest train station, Leipzig Hauptbahnhof, and close to 3 times the size of Nagoya Station in Japan, once recognized as the world's largest train hub. Now, if train stations aren't your scale parameter of choice, then just know that Chongqing East covers a space vaster than 170 football pitches and more than 2 Vatican cities. And I know, as states go, the Vatican City isn't exactly huge, but we're talking about a train station here. Now, the significance of this transport hub reaches far beyond its staggering dimensions. You see, this might just be the most important step in China's infrastructure evolution so far. So, we've shown you how big Chongqing East Station is, but it might be useful to give some context as to how massive China is itself. The nation has highways that stretch twice the length of the United States. It features more than 1 million bridges, thousands of kilometers of tunnels, and the largest high-speed rail network on the planet, stretching for more than 50,000 kilometers. Comparatively, the country with the second most high-speed rail is Spain, with a mere 3,000 kilometers. And this is by meticulous design, all part of an infrastructure mission that the People's Republic has embarked on for the last 30 years. Now, there are multiple reasons why China is throwing the kitchen sink at its infrastructure. Firstly, there's little doubt that there's a symbolic element at play. When any nation, not just China, searches for world records or starts making a big show of development, it's likely that they're trying to let the rest of the world know how well they're doing. All major nations do this. The most recent example of that with China is probably the massive Belt and Road Initiative. Since 2013, China's been investing billions to recreate the Silk Road trade routes of the past. The idea is to foster relationships and economic ties between countries along the route, although some in the West have debated whether China is looking to exert influence as a nice side benefit.
For the Communist Party, the goals of trying to meet the needs of the people and also being a leading figure on the world stage, I think they're very much intertwined. Part of what it tries to deliver is this sort of performance legitimacy to say that, well, we are really able to deliver these enormous bridges for all sorts of infrastructure projects that the US and the UK are not really able to do anymore. And we are able to do these things to meet the needs of the people, even though not everybody needs a new bridge. But most people really do want all of these things, and they feel very impressed with the state.
The country's infrastructure boom is about a lot more than just putting on a show. There's wide-scale disparity between the east and west of this nation, with the west of China historically being less developed and significantly poorer. In response, China's launched its very own War on Poverty. The aim was to better connect the country to mobilize its people and therefore improve trade. As an example, the previously poor mountainous region of Guizhou is now home to half of the world's tallest bridges, including the record-breaking Huajiang Canyon Bridge. By 2021, China claimed it had eradicated extreme poverty by plunging $250 billion into efforts. At the time, the nation defined extreme poverty as a person earning less than $2.30 per day, which is around $620 per year.
Unfortunately, 2% of Americans are in extreme poverty.
But China's infrastructure mission is far from over.
China is a country I call the engineering state because at various points in the recent past, the entirety of the senior leadership was made up of engineers. This is one of the inheritances that modern China has received from the Soviet.
I'm sorry, chat. It's like 1%. Sorry, not 2%.
They
1%.
sort of treat everything
Meaning
as a
less than $1.25 a day.
Civil engineering exercise. So part of why China has built so many roads, bridges, dams, nuclear, coal, wind, solar, as well as especially homes, is that the engineers really want to just build a lot of stuff.
In short, this is what present-day China does. And there's a few reasons why Chongqing is finding itself home to the country's latest mega project. It's one of 4 direct-administered municipalities in the country, and its southwestern near central position has placed it in the midst of a development surge. Chongqing's GDP has been growing faster than the likes of Beijing, with its core urban population now standing at around 10 million people. Amazingly, that is a quadrupling of the population in the last 30 years, which, when you consider that China's population overall is actually declining, is pretty telling. Oh, and did I mention, this place is absolutely crazy.
I have just arrived to the craziest city on Earth, and you probably have never even heard about it.
They have trains floating on the river.
Chongqing goes by a few nicknames: the River City, the Mountain City, or the more intriguing Cyberpunk City. Residents and visitors here joke that the area is built in 8D. Developed on the side of a mountain, this municipality's topography is nuts. And usually, if your carriage is heading towards a block of apartments, you'd think something horrible was happening. But not here. Liziba Station cuts right through the centre of a housing block. Perfect for your work commutes, but maybe not so perfect for quiet nights in.
Actually, it's designed to be quiet for the apartments inside.
Continue your Chongqing tour, you'll find Raffles City down by the river, like China's answer to Marina Bay Sands. Over here is the deepest train station in the world, dropping to a depth of 116 meters. And this is the perfect example of what I was talking about earlier. It's the Kuixing building, and as you'll see, its rooftop plaza connects directly to street level. In short, this city really is something else. Now, because of its idealistic location, Chongqing has been earmarked as the centre of China's high-speed rail. And with well over 3 billion trips taken on the nation's high-speed rail network in 2024, this new station had to be huge.
We're going to come on to the engineering and why it's physically so big in just a moment. But first, it's important to understand what it really takes to get a project this massive to the point where you're ready to put spades in the ground. Modern mega builds demand years of planning, input and coordination, often from experts that are spread right around the world in different time zones and working cultures. Even once you get through pre-construction and then get a building this big built, the job isn't over. Chongqing is more than just a rail station. It's intended as a central hub for an entire region. There's going to be retail units, restaurants, airlines, all kinds of different client relationships to manage and expectations to fulfill. Managing relationships can be an ongoing struggle for many businesses, but it doesn't have to be. Intelligent box, your phone call, text, tie a picture of what needs to happen. You need to try it out for yourself. Most of the time, we never see behind the curtain on a project like Chongqing East. We don't see the amazing people who are working largely off-site to make sure a project goes to plan. But it's software like Asio that's built to represent and enable every... Okay, Jesus.
Chongqing East is positioned 20 kilometers away from the city's downtown district and features 15 platforms serviced by 29 lines. Now, I know what you're thinking. For a station that dwarfs the Vatican City, 15 platforms sounds pretty conservative. After all, Grand Central in New York, although just a sixth of the size, has 44 platforms and a mighty 67 tracks. But Chongqing East comes with a contrasting design philosophy to that of Grand Central. New York's key train hub is really a commuter checkpoint, facilitating the get-up-and-go spirit of the city. There's no high-speed rail, and so the trains are generally a fair bit shorter, around the 200-metre mark, maybe stretching towards 300 metres at the top end.
Chongqing East has a very different mission statement. Its 7 high-speed lines allow the station to connect not just different neighbourhoods, but entire different cities. The trains grow to well over 400 metres, requiring much longer platforms and slower passenger turnaround times.
Which isn't to say commuters aren't welcome. The rapid 350 km/h trains might steal the show, but over its 8 floors, Chongqing East still operates conventional rail services, metro lines, buses, taxis, and even private parking. And it's
See, that's what makes this train station so incredible, is it's not just the high-speed rail, but you get off the high-speed rail and then you jump on the metro in the same fucking building.
It's all complete with shopping and a whole host of food amenities. You see, Chongqing East is the pilot for China's station city integration method, transforming high-speed rail stations into huge multimodal hubs. The idea is to synchronize transport stops and in time fit them with hotels and full-on shopping centers. As an example of that strategy coming to life, if you're heading to Chongqing Jiangbei International, the city's key airport, you can check in for your flight at the train station on the way. You can even check your luggage in, depending on where you're travelling onto. Constructed literally on the side of a mountain, the design is inspired by the terrain, the river, and the nearby trees. So before any structural work could begin, crews had to create a level foundation by cutting into the landscape to clear the soil. Deep piles followed, drilled into the ground to stabilize those foundations. The first 5 levels of the building were constructed at the start, followed by the 3 upper levels, all supported by reinforced concrete frames for the structural base.
Okay. So before we watch this whole video, let's cut back to the libertarians. What is their so this is China's electro green energy infrastructure investment made by a communist party using taxes and state-owned enterprise. What's the libertarian alternative? What do the libertarians think we should do?
Voluntarily, of course.
So what he's suggesting is, odd for him. Let me translate what he said. Nothing. Nothing. He might as well have just said, trope. Is trope? Can I just say trope? Okay.
Mr. Perry?
I'll do my best to answer this in 30 seconds. We're in a hotel. Hotels thrive on having customers stay in their hotel, which means people need to get to their hotel, which means that people are probably coming to visit and do stuff. All of these places thrive on customers, meaning that they need a flat surface for all of their customers to come and go from. Businesses will be incentivized to have these flat surfaces called roads. We don't need to steal the money. Let the people who thrive from them pay for them. Voluntarily, of course.
So what he's suggesting is, in places that attract tourism, you'll be able to get maybe a big hotel company that will pay for a road. Now, do you think the hotel company is going to pay for the road to go anywhere but directly to their hotel? Now, I guess maybe they could get together with maybe a gas station. So it'll be just the road will go past the gas station, and that's about it. The road to the hospital? We're not going to pay for that. Oh, the road from the fire department to anywhere else? We're not going to pay for that. Unless, I know what it is. If you have a fire going on in your house, then you could decide to build a road from the fire department to your house. That could work out well. I mean, you'd have to have... And then think about it. It would create a new business where you need to have cement that it can actually instantaneously be put down on the ground so that fire trucks could get there.
There's a company in Singapore that does this. They use elves
there we go.
who have faster working abilities, and it works better for everyone.
But that gets back. His response is basically a more extreme version of what I was suggesting would have to happen, where if you just had... people that were incentivized to pay for the roads, but here we go. That's a more efficient way, incidentally, of doing that, right? Right. If you're a construction company, you just got to hope for someone to build a hotel. But now, why would you build a hotel if there's no road there?
Of course.
Governor Johnson.
Well, infrastructure is the best example of how you can privatize this entire function, and you can do this through user fees to be able to accomplish that. Should government be in charge of that process? Well, you're probably going to have government administrate over it or issue a request for proposal to see this happen. But no, government shouldn't be involved in this. The private sector can be involved in this. Entrepreneurs can be involved in this and can apply the best taxes possible, which are user fees, by those that in fact use the infrastructure.
Pause it. So basically, these special user fees will only go to people who use things like sewerage or maybe roads or like police or fire department. Now, if you're one of those people, you'll pay a user fee. They'll call it a user fee, but you know what it's called? A tax.
Mr. Peterson.
The old who will build the roads. Roads.
The old Pause it, go back. Oh, the old, who's going to pay for things in society that we all want? This little chestnut that comes up. Well,
Infinius deductus.
The obvious
Blatantly obvious defoius.
Yes.
A completely apparent problem to even the most simple thinking people imaginable that interferes with our Scientology-like devotion to this bizarre, creepy neo-feudalism. I'm so glad you brought it up.
I always equate this to that ridiculous question about why can't we fly to the old thing about gravity.
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 To paraphrase Lloyd Benson, a status but a true wit. There you go again.
Peterson.
The old who will build the roads. Roads, roads, roads. Where we're going, we don't need roads. Because the truth is that in the future we'll have a jetpack. This is unimaginative. They don't see a future where freedom can solve the problems that are created by government. The free market can solve these problems. Take a look at what happened in Hurricane Katrina when people were suffering and there was no electricity. What happened? People stepped in and they started offering generators, and people said, oh wow, look, they're charging for these generators 2-3 times more than you might have learned on the free market. But they called them price gougers. But the truth is that supply and demand worked. And looks like I'm out of time, but who will build the roads? Roads. We don't need that. We don't need government to build roads.
Are we not psychic about libertarians?
No, wait a second.
Oh my God.
I didn't even know.
Jetpacks.
You had written right here, it was...
Jetpacks.
He said, you said Peterson says we won't need roads.
Funnily enough, if you guys don't know, this is a deep Majority Report cut. If you don't know this deep Majority Report cut, Sam, I believe, or Michael, I can't remember who, but one of them had said, libertarians are going to say we can get jetpacks. And now the libertarians are literally saying we'll get jetpacks.
I was guessing about the jetpacks.
I don't understand why you post this.
We've been talking about jetpacks for a really long time.
Yeah, because I understand the libertarian brain.
Clearly.
If I understand what Peterson is saying here is that Hurricane Katrina gives us a good model. We're not going to need roads. We're just going to need boats. We're just going to be all living on canals, selling boats at a premium.
Hurricane Katrina and the aftermath is not a good model for anything.
I love the idea, honestly, that this guy could raise, and there's no doubt in my mind the only time Hurricane Katrina raised in this debate, right?
Jesus Christ.
The only time that it's raised is in the context of coming up with it was a great opportunity to see how well the market works. Unbelievable.
Let me say.
Privatized. FEMA privatized. Private services down the line. The reason why those buses were sitting 3 hours away, 4 hours away, was because the fifth subcontractor who was contracted to get those buses to where they needed to go, didn't want to take them out too early, because if it was a false alarm, it would have cut into the profits that they were making on that contract. And so these, scumbag is a really strong word, but pathological people gathered there. The only lesson they can learn is that the market works when people are desperate, when the power dynamic is such that one person's life is at stake and the other person has a generator or a candy bar, you can make a lot of money out of that.
If Greg runs for president, I will be his campaign manager. I will be his senior strategist. I want him up there explaining why the other guy's jetpack plan is wrong, and also how we can solve all of the problems in the Middle East with said jetpacks and relocating Palestinians to Jordan in a friendly act of ethnic cleansing.
Okay,
I want that.
Hello, you.
That was sorry, Chad. I was just enjoying the good old days. My old friend Michael Brooks. That was Michael Brooks. Jetpacks. And you're welcome for taking a diversion of a diversion. We were making fun of Thomas Massey, guys. Drinking raw milk.
Job, and I'm not going to make any announcements tonight. I'm going to go back, have me a medical margarita. I'll hang out and party with you all. You know I don't drink recreationally. I have medical margaritas. I I even have a medical margarita card. But what happened today, what happened tonight was God's will. And we have to figure out what was the purpose of having the biggest fight ever. Biggest fight ever. Why did it converge on one of 435 congressional seats right here in Kentucky? What was God's purpose? What is he showing us tonight? We're just getting started. I like that. What happens in 2028? You want me to run for Congress again? I don't know what you're talking about. You've made a compelling argument. You spoke your piece, but I need a medical margarita right now. And we'll talk about it later. Thank you and God bless.
I'm sorry, Chad. I'm not a Massey enjoyer. The libertarian, they're just so fucking creepy, man. They're so fucking creepy and so dumb. Booker swooping in to rally at a half-full room for a doomed Nepo candidate. Indelible, unfortunately. Does anybody have the picture of the room? Because it was so fucking empty. Senator Corey's speech was interrupted by protesters who interrupted him for a few seconds, demanding a ceasefire in Gaza, where a Palestinian child is being killed every 10 minutes. Booker was taken by surprise and then had to exit. So this is from a few years ago. Does anyone have a picture of it? Because fuck, Booker is absolutely fucking like, what a loser. Oh, you guys found it? Oh, there it is. Do you guys remember that centrism fan account talking about how Hasan's rally wasn't that big? You guys remember that? Thousands of people showed up for the Hasan Rabb rally. This iconic photo was taken. And then Cory Booker and the mayor of Philadelphia and the leader of the Democratic Party in Philadelphia show up, and this is what the room looked like.
Don't forget that you come over a way that with tears.
Senator Booker, why did you vote for the Lincoln Riley bill? I'm from West Virginia. Why did you vote for the Lincoln Riley bill?
Somebody that knows what it is to stand up against the heckle and cruelty and violence. If you are here, hush your mouth. All right. Somebody that knows what it is to keep going when I'm telling you to stop. Someone that knows what it is to keep fighting even when you're tired and you're weary. Don't forget that you come over.
The machine politicians have absolutely fucking no motion. No motion whatsoever. And we have won. I also don't want you to forget, chat, Summer Lee was also primary challenge.
Okay, guys, we're going to send it back to you. I know that later on in the show, we're going to talk to the director as well as the...
I know this is it. Summer Lee was also challenged, and she only got 81% of the vote. 81% of the vote. The only sitting Democratic rep to get a primary challenge in Pennsylvania was Summer Lee, and she only received 81%. Saddam Hussein level numbers. And I want you to understand that she defeated AIPAC last time. She crushed AIPAC. She was forced to run against AIPAC last time. They poured millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars against her and defeated her. She defeated them twice. The retiring the Democratic rep in Pennsylvania, his name was Michael Doyle. So AIPAC found the guy with the exact same name, Michael Doyle, to run as a Republican. Summer Lee defeated Steve Irwin, an ex-Republican, to win the primary election. She did so by less than 1,000 votes because so much AIPAC and Republican and billionaire money was poured into this primary. Then she ran against a Republican who had the same exact name as the retiring Democrat, Michael Doyle, and she crushed his ass. And once people experienced what it was like to be represented by Summer Lee, AIPAC spent millions again and was defeated. And so they've just plain given up. They've just plain given up. And without the AIPAC lobby money, she crushed them. So Pittsburgh and Philadelphia are ruled by 2 black socialists. The idea that socialism is the politics of white, upper class white people like myself is just a la-di-da bullshit. And it always has been. We have a generational fight, and we have got to remove the boomers. We have got to get rid of the fucking power of the boomers. We have got to take back our country from greed. Look at Sharif's concession speech.
The campaign that we ran. As was said, we didn't have the millions of dollars of TV ads that the others had. We did have people power. We did inspire lots of folks. We did it in a grassroots way. And I want for all of you who are out there who place some level of faith in me, and I see our mayor's here. I appreciate you. Thank you, thank you. Look, I want you to know, we're not going anywhere. I'm still in the Senate. I'm still going to be here. We will still fight for the issues you can.
God, it's so disorganized and so auraless. God, they have no fucking talent or showmanship whatsoever. Holy criminy. We're going to win everything.
About will still be there. Now listen, we believe in democracy. This is not Donald Trump. We recognize that tonight Chris Rabb has won the Democratic nomination, and we congratulate him on that victory.
Guys, Barney Frank has died. Wait, I hear something. You guys hear that?
Then die. What do we do? Argue with you? I'm not on the debate team.
Bye. It's not about them being black. Are they upper class? I must know their previous socioeconomic condition to decide if they are succeeding, as it is something I support or not. Yeah, I mean, it is. It has become a complete and utter victory. A win for Miss Ocasio-Cortez in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania's 3rd district, one of this country's bluest. The winner of an internecine brawl to succeed retiring Representative Dwight Evans was Chris Rabb, an anti-ICE, anti-establishment state representative and self-described radical Democratic socialist endorsed by Miss Ocasio-Cortez. Rabb, 56, beat Sharif Street, the state senator and former chair of the Pennsylvania Democratic Party, and Dr. Alla Stanford, a pediatric surgeon and a founder of Philadelphia's Black Doctors COVID-19 Consortium. Democratic voters want bold leaders right now, said Nick Gavino, spokesman for the Working Families Party, which endorsed Mr. Rabb. Leaders willing to push the envelope, and Rabb does that. It feels like a real movement, a woodworker who supported Rabb told a reporter from the Philadelphia Inquirer at the candidates' election night party. Ladies and gentlemen, we are winning. And it's not just in Philadelphia. It's not just in New York. A brand new poll has just dropped in Maine. Pan Atlantic Research poll. Graham Plattner, 48. Susan Collins, 41. Overall, Plattner up 7. With females, he's up 19. With males, Collins is only up 3. Plattner leads among independents by 13, and he has positive net favorability, whereas Susan Collins is negative 18 and Donald Trump is negative 23. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a fucking wrap, dude. You think it's gonna get better? You think it's gonna get better for Susan Collins? You think the Republicans are gonna get more popular? You think the economy's getting better? Which, all of them? Okay. ladies and gentlemen, this is just the Mike is right world. I have grabbed hold of the lathe of heaven. I have grabbed hold of the lathe of heaven, and we will win. The thing that we need to do is for make ranked choice voting thing. We need to do this. We should do ranked choice voting. Yeah, we got to do this. We gotta do ranked choice voting in California. I'm gonna figure out. I'm gonna make this one of my causes that we start to push. Ladies and gentlemen, I have got to start. I gotta talk about the Ethan Klein suing thing. God, it's so fucking stupid. So fucking stupid. Did you talk about DSA LA endorsing Bass? They didn't. Some city council DSA members did endorse Bass, presumably because they don't like Nithya. Nithya really fumbled, man. Nithya really fumbled. If Nithya was just like a principled pro-Palestinian socialist candidate, she would have like didn't try to do these like. I mean, she must have some relationship with donors that I don't understand. But by the way, chat, Ashley St. Clair has effectively gotten herself attention. She's finally figured out how to grift liberals. And you know what? This is the best way.
This is like a random question that I have with like MAGA influencers and stuff. Are there influencers on the left who they're kind of like afraid of as being like very like effective or like ones they want to take down?
Yeah, they are very scared of Hasan Piker.
Oh, they are?
That is like the one that they are scared of, because Hasan has the ability to capture what I believe to be someone like the alt-right men as well. Like there is a crossover between the people who gravitate towards a Nick Fuentes or a Tucker Carlson that could find better solace in someone like Hasan. They're terrified of Hasan. Terrified.
That's fascinating to me. Oh wow, that's interesting. Yeah, I know there is crossover. And I mean, I've critiqued Hasan in the past, and like his stands will come for me. Like I'm kind of the mindset of I really don't like a lot of things that he has to say, but I think he's a net good, and I think he like deserves a platform. I don't think canceled. I do think he says some things that are like absolutely beyond the pale from time to time, but that is so interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I've always defended everyone's right to speak, even my biggest detractors. I think we should be very wary whenever there is an establishment push to silence anyone. I think that shows if the levers of capital are all fixated against one individual, you should probably pay attention to that.
I completely agree with that take. Like I've always been of the mindset of like, especially with all the shit going on with the FCC right now, like, and I'm trying to like talk to conservatives and be like, listen, I think a lot of what you say on Fox News is stupid dog shit garbage and I hate it, but I still do defend your right to say it.
Yeah.
And listen to it and engage with it.
But also with people like Hasan or any streamer, they are live for so long and they are living the most honest articulation of like thought and commentary. They're going to say stupid shit, and that's okay. And I guess that goes back to like my thesis, right? It's like there has to be some forgiveness and grace to people being human and saying stupid shit, because look, if anyone pulled up our texts and group chats, you know, like we all say stupid things, and I think it's really important to put that humanity and being human and being stupid back into the public sphere and owning it. I think that is really important, especially like as we're building systems that aggregate humanity. And we purposely leave so much of it out. I think we have to put that back in, and we have to have grace for people who are human and decide to speak all day, every day.
I hear you. And my hot take is that the people who are the loudest about trying to like point fingers and cancel people are just trying to distract from their own shit and the own harm that they've caused.
Oh, yes.
You know?
Yes, we see that with MAGA.
Yeah.
The party of family values.
All right. Okay, I gotta listen to this again. Sorry.
Absolutely beyond the pale from time to time. But that is so interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I've always defended everyone's right to speak, even my biggest detractors. I think we should be very wary whenever there is an establishment push to silence anyone. I think that shows if the levers of capital are all fixated against one individual.
Levers of capital. We've got a Hasan watcher. What? Yeah. You sure? Okay.
You should probably pay attention to that.
I completely agree with that take. Like I've always been of the mindset of like,
you know what we need, chat? We need a cosign emote, because this is the emotes I've been thinking about. A cosign emote for whatever Hasan says I condemn and I don't cosign. We could all start cosigning. Whatever he's condemning, we can all cosign. So I want a cosign emote. Sign, you know, cosign. What else do we need? We need like a rage bait emote for sure. We need a tangent emote. I want to make a condom hummus emote for my channel as well. Like, we have it enabled, but I kind of feel like condom hummus needs to be an emote. DSA muted or DSA censored emote when you forget to unmute. True. We have a Holy Toledo emote. Have you guys been using Holy Toledo?
Especially with all the shit going on with the FCC right now. Like, and I'm trying to like talk to conservatives and be like, listen, I think a lot of what you say on Fox News is stupid dog shit garbage and I hate it, but I still do defend your right to say it.
Yeah.
And listen to it and engage with it.
But also with people like Hasan or any streamer, they are live for so long and they are living the most honest articulation of like thought and commentary. They're going to say stupid shit and that's okay. And I guess that goes back to like my thesis, right? It's like there has to be some forgiveness and grace to.
No, I haven't, Mike, because I'm not subbed because you haven't chilled enough to get me gifted. I know I haven't, Chad. We're 4 hours into the stream. We're on a hype stream. Mike from PA Thought has been completely vindicated. My work is done in Pennsylvania, practically. I mean, like, what more? How many more socialist reps are we going to get? We need Sticks emote when? Oh, we're getting a nice Sticks emote. Sticks emote's on its way. What a disgrace, honestly. And I'm not even at 7,000 subs. Meanwhile, Ethan Klein is watching my sub count gleefully, pocket watching me.
Mike from PA to me is a full-on grifter. One day I'm gonna do a video on this guy. He is the most pathetic dipshit on all of Twitch, and just to show you how easy this grift is, this guy is like relatively successful, and he is like not talented.
You know what? You know what must really burn them up is that even Ethan Klein says I'm relatively successful. Oh, I gotta burn them up.
Is vile and he is cringe as fuck. What's his average view count?
Probably like a couple K.
Couple K.
Does he really get a couple K?
Nice. And somehow he still succeeded. You know, he has 7,000 members or something. Every time I see that number, I'm like, whoa.
See what I mean? We're below 7,000. Ethan Klein is gonna be celebrating. We gotta pump these numbers up. We've got to pump these numbers up.
I'm going to say that his sub count is getting lower.
Is it?
Yeah, I mean, it's closer to 8,000 before. I mean, every time I look, he has between 7,000 and 8,000 paying members, which is pretty disturbing, but it is what it is.
Like, I gotta be honest, I don't even notice when Ethan Klein talks about me. I legitimately don't notice. Somebody has to tell me.
Mike from PA. 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 Mike from PA.
Mike from PA.
Mike from PA. Mike from PA. Mike from PA.
Mike from PA.
Mike from PA.
Mike from PA. Mike from.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to piss off Ethan Klein, the single best thing you can do is support my channel. And it is funny how much he hates me and Hasan. And what does he hate me for? He hates me for supporting Rogan, supporting Denim, supporting Palestine. Like, I didn't have any issue with H3. Oh, I remember. He put me in the content nuke because I made a joke about Destiny, right? He was trying to curry favor with Destiny, and so he's been attacking me. And all I did is laugh at their fucking asses and point out how they're falling off. And they have fixated on me. And it's like, I talk about politics every day, bro. You talk about how your house is covered in dog shit. Yet he made me into an enemy. Incredible. So that brings us to our next topic of the day, which is Ethan Klein is suing Noah Sampson, which is like probably one of the most embarrassing lawsuits I've ever seen.
It's official.
If Noah Sampson do not settle, Noah, you are being slap sued. This is probably the most vexatious bullshit lawsuit I've ever seen. You stated your opinion that his actions are supporting genocide. That is a completely legitimate opinion.
It's happening. I am getting sued by Ethan Klein. Ethan Klein, millionaire and host of the H3 podcast, has sued me for defamation. Here's the complaint. It's 31 pages, and I'm getting sued. About a year ago, I released this video, the YouTubers who backed genocide. And in response, Ethan Klein immediately began threatening to sue me. Then, a year later, just 2 days before the statute of limitations was up, Klein filed his lawsuit. In the complaint, Klein alleges that I defamed him by falsely painting him as a supporter of the genocide of Palestinians. The complaint presents 6 allegedly defamatory statements, including the title and thumbnail of my video, and it makes several claims related to statements made about Israel, Palestine, atrocity propaganda, Nakba denialism, misinformation, and more. There's a lot of stuff in this thing. It's 31 pages. For now, all I can say about the lawsuit itself is that I think Ethan's claims are meritless, and I intend to defend against them. But to do this, I need your help. A full-length defamation trial can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, and I don't have that. So I started a GoFundMe. It's linked in the description in the pinned comment. You can also find it by searching Klein.
Why doesn't anyone have insurance? Okay, so umbrella insurance is something that you can get, which defends against defamation lawsuits. You could also get what's known as errors and omissions insurance, which I highly recommend that everybody gets. Like, if I were to be sued, I would have 2 different insurance companies that would pay for it, right? And all that would happen is they would counter sue Ethan Klein under SLAPP, and they would probably get their expensive law firm paid back, right? So the insurance premiums are not free. I do pay every month to have protection from like vexatious lawsuits. Umbrella insurance is expensive. Umbrella insurance is expensive. No, it's not. No, it's fucking not. No, compared to a lawsuit, it is not. Now, it doesn't prevent them. It means the insurance company fights it. The insurance company hires law firms, the insurance company defends, and the insurance company, if I'm found liable, would pay. Or more likely, they would countersue for SLAPP, and they would make Ethan Klein and his dumb lawyers pay for all their shit.
V. Samson on the internet. I set the goal at $200,000, but any funds we raise above this goal will be donated immediately to Palestinian aid, and any money that goes unused or is recuperated once legal proceedings conclude will also be donated. Last year, around the time of Ethan's initial lawsuit threats, we did a fundraiser for UNRWA, an organization that provides aid to Palestinian refugees, and we raised over $500,000, so it would be cool if we could do something like that again. I'll be hosting a fundraising live stream this Friday, May 22nd, starting at 10 a.m. Pacific time. It's a marathon stream, so it will go for 4 days straight, maybe longer. We'll have lots of guests calling in to hang out, play games, or do tier lists or whatever else. So far, we've got FD Signifier, Boy, Big Joel, Denims, iDubbbz, Frogan, Elliot Sang, Chris Kunzler, Overzealot, Suki Cherry Socialist, Ahmed Sarsour, Colormind, Oli Sun Via, Cavernacle, and more. We'll have lots of fun donation goals. You may get to see me chug a gallon of milk, take a pie to the face, wax my legs, cosplay your favorite influencers, do the hot chip challenge, run a marathon, and more. We'll have the wheel going as well, like we did during the last fundraiser. And for the grand finale, if we hit $500,000, I will ride a bike 120 miles from San Diego to Hasan Piker's house to beg him for more money. Klein v. Samson, GoFundMe, link in bio. Donate to help defend free speech on YouTube, and send money to Palestinian.
I was on the last stream chat. I'm sure I'll get on here too.
Aid as well while we do it. Thanks for watching. See you on Friday.
Really good stuff. Really good stuff. So how is the GoFundMe doing? Already at 21,000 raised. Looks like it's doing pretty well. Excited. That live stream hasn't even started, bro. Oh, man. Cavernacle is an anti-Hasan slot merchant. I mean, a lot of people are anti-Hasan slot merchants. Basically, there are people who talk about politics, and then there are people that are trying to engage with politics. And I don't have as much tolerance for the people that talk about politics but don't actually do anything. I'm starting to distance myself from those type of people. He hates Plattner. That's fucking cope. If you're British or Australian, you're no better than an American. Like I don't give a fuck what you say. If you're British or Australian or whatever the fuck, you're no different. So it's just cringe to be hyper fixated on American politics. Meanwhile, in the UK, they're literally they are Israel supporting genociders. They prescribed Palestine action. It's like, give me a fucking break. And like Graham Plattner, they're moralizing. They're not doing politics. They're moralizing. They're going like, oh, this guy was in the military. That makes him bad. It's like, that's the United States military. That's the military of any American. No American is superior to that. But we all pay taxes to it. We all support it. The question is, what is he trying to do materially in politics? The answer is stop the empire from doing the genocide. Versus and that's how it works. It really is just that simple. And it's an embarrassment that we even have to have these conversations. It's childish shit. It's like, it's baby brain shit. It honestly embarrasses me. If I was in his position, I would live in a 2 small bedroom house outside the city. I would have saved 30 million up by now. Huh? Buying real estate in Los Angeles, California, which has had some of the highest appreciation in a world, in American, like, of all possible places, is very financially literate. I wish I could do the same. I wish I owned a 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom house in West Hollywood. Probably appreciated by $500,000 since he bought it. Epstein legal woes crash out on LSF.
True and correct log of 22 outbound media files and produced none of them. You can eat my entire fucking ass. I will rot beneath a prison before I ever give any pornographic videos of mine to you disgusting fucking nasty fucking piece of shit. For you and fucking Lauren and whatever other goggle of disgusting fuck pedo weirdo porno friends you have. I will never ever. The fact that you would even suggest this, that I need to turn over that was one of their discovery requests, by the way, was every single image and video that I'd sent over the past 5 years. You are crazy. And defendant produced none of the media files that he sent to ABMC. Again, eat my entire ass. And defendant has produced none of the 22 items Exhibit E identifies as having been sent. The underlying Google Drive files are not existing anymore. Again, I'm sorry, you disgusting piece of like fucking sand, whatever the fuck. The idea that you think you can sue me and then start naming random fucking witnesses that have nothing to do with this case and then ask for dozens of videos of jerk-off material of me, you are...
So Destiny sent a bunch of porn to other people, unconsented, and that would probably include videos of the plaintiff in the case. That's completely relevant. It's also, it speaks to your behavior, your pattern of behavior, your modus operandi. And she has the right to know, since it's been definitively proven that you've leaked her shit without her consent to other people, whether or not the videos that you sent to others and messages included her. They're not being sent there for to titillate the lawyer. It's relevant, you fucking revenge pornographer, criminal.
Out of your fucking mind. I cannot. One of the most disgusting requests I've ever seen is that nasty.
Well, the most disgusting request he's ever seen. What are you, a lawyer? You fucking dropout? Like, what are you saying? You don't know anything about law? Get the fuck out of here.
Fucking whatever, begging me for fucking porn videos of myself and other people. Literally, eat shit. How fucking gross. When Solo Tiny Leaks publicly posted intimate content of plaintiff and others, putting defendant on notice that litigation was reasonably foreseeable. You're saying here that after another account starts leaking shit of mine onto the internet, that I have a duty to I'm not allowed to protect myself and delete any other videos across all of my social media? The funny thing is that plaintiff literally reminded me, she was like, hey, make sure you delete everything in your conversation with this guy. And I'm pretty sure as soon as my shit gets leaked online, I am completely and totally disallowed from cleaning up any of my DMs to anybody else. I'm not allowed to delete any message. I'm not allowed to do anything because I should just assume that somebody's going to fucking sue me on May 13th, 2026 live stream that after the leaks in January or February.
What Destiny's trying to do here is spin the fact that he deleted a bunch of messages that were proof that he sent the revenge porn of people. He went around and like tried to destroy all the evidence that he had sent the revenge porn around. And now he's saying like, oh no, actually I'm a victim because you're saying that I destroyed the evidence. And it's like, yes, you destroyed all the proof and then you refused to disclose it of you committing the crime.
I ran like a whole redact in my Discord, thereby placing the deletion squarely after his preservation duty had attached. The duty is to preserve, not that I can't remove content from other platforms. I have preserved everything. That's why the only evidence in this entire case that we can argue about is the evidence that I've provided.
Okay, the only evidence in the revenge porn lawsuit is the revenge porn I leaked. Yeah, that's the whole thing, dummy. Amazing stuff. Wow. What a day, chat. What an amazing day. We love to see it. You're allowed to delete unless you're under a court order. He is clearly not a lawyer. Aw. Yeah, I mean, that being said, the crime is the revenge porn. Don't commit crimes. Did you see that Jacobin wrote about your favorite Florida man? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Which reminds me, chat, we're going to be doing a... one of my friends got kidnapped for the flotilla. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. We need to put more energy into that story. It's a huge problem. We're going to be playing Monopoly with our boy, Oliver Larkin, this week. All right. I'm so happy.
So in two competitive congressional races in Pennsylvania, Bob Brooks in the Lehigh Valley overcame, I think, more than $1 million in kind of fake Republican spending where they were trying to kind of uplift an unelectable Democrat. They're doing the same thing in Texas with this lunatic lady who's calling for concentration camps. And they failed. Bob Brooks, the firefighter union guy from Allentown, Pennsylvania, comfortably won his election, so he'll be facing McKenzie, the Republican incumbent in the primary there. But more importantly, probably to the national conversation, down in Philadelphia in an open race, Chris Rabb, and we can put this element up on the screen, emerged victorious. Not even that close by the end of it. Almost 45% of the vote for Chris Rabb, Democratic Socialist, against 29.5% for Sharif Street. And then Alice Stanford, a physician who had been the front runner, down at 24%. And so this is a rather stunning victory. 2 months ago, you would not have, we were covering Chris Rabb 2 months ago, but you would not have said that he was, kind of remotely even in contention. A lot had to come together for him to be able to win. I think primarily Summer Lee deserves an enormous amount of credit in this election. She's the kind of DSA-backed, although she's had some a complicated relationship with DSA Pittsburgh, a candidate for, she's a member of Congress from Pittsburgh, way across the other side of the state. She came over. She was the first member of Congress to endorse Chris Rabb, and did a lot of kind of recruiting and organizing on his behalf, and to really say, this is a winnable race. We need to get in here. You then had the Working Families Party and DSA Philadelphia getting behind Rabb. Both DSA Philly or Philly DSA and Working Families Party have done a lot of work in previous cycles in down ballot races and city council races and elsewhere that built a lot of foundation for Chris Rabb to then run on. Rabb, a state representative who himself ran a great campaign and is an impressive candidate, and had built relationships kind of in the populist, progressive, and DSA world over the years, so that when the moment came, he was able to capitalize on it in a way that he might not otherwise have been. You also had this new pro-Palestine PAC, which is capitalized with something like $10 million, which is largely kind of Muslim donors around the country saying we need to get politically active in a way that can counteract.
Yeah, I mean, Emerge is a really important phenomenon, and we absolutely needs to grow. But I don't fundamentally think the solution to the problem of American politics is going to be like, hey, we have the Muslim AIPAC. You know what I mean? The Muslim PAC. I don't think that's actually a solution. I think what we need to do is destroy the Supreme Court, destroy Citizens United, destroy these structures, and actually build something that will have an electoral system that doesn't have outside money or corporate money or foreign agent money in our system. That being said, we have to fight within the system that exists.
AIPAC, and the PAC is called American Priorities. They came in and spent about a little less than $500,000 getting behind him. That type of money in a race like this can really put you over the top. WFP also kicked in about $500,000. The Congressional Progressive Caucus PAC. There was a lot of people kind of flooded in to try to match AIPAC here. So on the other side, you had this candidate, Alla Stanford, who rose to prominence in Philadelphia because of her kind of heroic work on the front lines during the COVID pandemic. She then had the support of this group called 314 Action, which supports doctors and scientists. But as we had reported here back in 2024, AIPAC used 314 Action to secretly funnel a lot of money against Sushila Jayapal in this Portland, Oregon race, also at the time backing a pediatrician. It turned out, and we reported at the time, and it was later confirmed, that through a variety of different kind of shady blind vehicles, they had been funding pro-Israel and AIPAC
Scott
money
Princess, thanks for the 5 tier ones.
into 314 Action. They were
Sorry for doom posting, but why are we acting like we're going to vote our way out of this? Do you think that DSA equals voting? It is an independent socialist organization that does electoral work that involves seizing state power through elections when we can, and alternative methods and alternative structures outside the electoral system. We're literally, and the electoral victory is a sign of our appeal to the masses. Do you understand that? Like, not being able to win elections is a sign that your fucking movement is weak. It's not that the elections and the politicians are going to lead us, but they are a trailing indicator of the widespread nature of our consciousness, of our support. We should be able to easily win shit like elections if we are making an impact that actually works. And, you know, ultimately, I think one of the things about like, oh, we're not going to vote ourselves out of it, that sounds superficially radical, but what it really is liberal. Doomerism, like the idea that we can't use these systems of our own accord, is a deorganizing impulse. It is, your body, you know, you're a human being. You want to sit on your ass and be lazy. And to like, if you have hope, if you have belief, if you see victories, begetting victory, then you're going to feel, and I feel it all the time now, anxiety that you need to be doing more, right? I have this feeling often where I'm like, I need to be doing more. What more can I do? I feel FOMO. I'm like, I want to be a part of what's going on. I can literally feel it in my heart that like, oh my God, I don't want to miss out on this once in a lifetime opportunity to make change. If you are doomering, that is the liberal within you telling you to sit on your fucking ass and do nothing. So it isn't that elections are going to save us. It's that the elections are a symptom of our success. They naturally flow from the fact that the people are becoming aware of the society structures. The fact that AIPAC is now despised among Democrats, that's because of the work we've done, the work I've done. On October 7th, when I said the Palestinian people have the right to resist, that was a far left radical position that maybe 10% of Americans, if that, would have supported. When I said that on October 7th, 2023, that was a radical position. Now, the majority of Democrats support Palestinians over Israel.
Fault him or the person who is an agitator for socialism, who fault him or think that the strategy is positive. Only time will tell. Who believes that the Democratic Party and certain very progressive figures in it can be used as a propaganda mechanism to inspire greater levels of class consciousness in the
What the fuck happened in my post, and why was all the likes stripped on this post? What the fuck? Why does this have seemingly no engagement, but there's replies in it? On October 7th at 9:46 a.m., I said, when occupying soldiers get shot, that is war, and occupied people have the untrammeled and full legal right to resist. That's what I said on October 7th. And when I said that, very, 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 very few people would support that position. Very, very, very few people would support that position. That was a radical position. But now it's absolutely conventional. But to get from there to here, we needed people like myself and Hasan and all the other pro-Palestinian advocates to stand firm based on our righteous beliefs in justice and human equality. And we have changed minds. Now we're changing the policy. So how do we change the policy? We make being pro-Israel unelectable. We make American politicians lose elections for being pro-Israel. We create legitimate fear of revolt over Israel. There's a reason why, if you thought, like, if you really think these elections don't matter, why the fuck do you think they're spending billions of dollars to buy them? Because they understand the mechanism of the support of Israel flows through the American state. And if the American state pulls back, Israel's finished. No one's confused, man, but you. And why are you confused about that? Why are you confused? Why do you not understand this answer? Why do you not understand this? Who's telling you different? Do you really know them? Are they really responsible for anything? Do you know their name? Where do they live? What is the belief that you are repeating? What's the structure? What institutions are saying that? What is the goal? What is the alternative that they're offering? You need to start reading a little bit more critically. You need to start thinking critically, even about your own beliefs. That's the most important beliefs to be critical of. And I feel like a lot of people, you know, you're just kind of floating on the effluvia of whatever your fucking algo feed is, and there's not a lot of gears turning up here. Former Cuban President Raul Castro indicted by the United States, the 93-year-old. I don't know, maybe I'm coping, but I think that if the United States tries to do another like special ops run into Cuba, they're gonna end up getting killed. They're gonna end up getting fucking killed. It's gonna end up being a big old disaster.
Able to beat Sushila Jayapal, who's Representative Pramila Jayapal's sister. In this race, this 314 action spent more than $3 million. And you can go read our story over at Drop Site to explain the intricacies of how this kind of pro-Israel money was funneled through 314 action. AIPAC continues to deny it. Well, you know, they'll continue to have to release different reports. Some of the money came from this, they move it from a foundation into then another thing called EDW Action, which has previously been used as an AIPAC front group, and then EDW Action then gives it to 314 Action. The other reason that you can know that this is AIPAC is that they're the only organization that does this. Crypto, AI, and say big oil, tech, like any of these other PACs, super PACs or industries that are spending in these races, when they do it, so far they do it with their chest. Like crypto and AI, for instance, are the only ones that can kind of match AIPAC and pro-Israel money when it comes to spending in these primaries. But so far, their brands are not so toxic. I think they should be, but their brands are not so toxic that they have to hide where the money is coming from. So the crypto PACs will be crypto PACs. The AI PACs will be AI super PACs. And so even though they don't kind of run ads on the issue of crypto or on the issue of AI, they will do negative ads about whatever they think will destroy their opponent, or they'll do positive ads on whatever they think will uplift the person that they're supporting. They will say at the bottom like who they are. And so the only super PACs at this point that are hiding the source, the actual kind of issue area behind them, at this point is AIPAC. They did this a bunch in Illinois, in those races that we covered there, and they did it again here. The $3+ million that they spent on behalf of Allah Stanford that they continue to deny having spent makes up something like 50% of all the money that 314 Action spent across the country. 314 Action, they normally spend nothing and just endorse, or they'll spend $10,000, or they'll spend maybe up to like $100,000. That's typically how they do it. The only time they've really ever come in and done millions is when AIPAC is behind it. Now, you may remember that Allah Stanford completely fell apart, not because she was exposed for taking AIPAC money, but because she did this interview on a local Fox channel where she was asked, okay, if you want to abolish ICE, who then should do immigration enforcement? And let's roll that again, because it precipitated one of the most incredible campaign implosions I think I've ever seen.
You also said you're running to abolish ICE. Mm-hmm. This is something that we've heard other Democrats and activists talk about. Yeah. From an immigration enforcement perspective, yes, who do you think should be in charge of enforcing immigration laws?
That's a good question. And you can pause because I just want to think about it for a minute. Yeah, go ahead.
We need to continue, though.
Okay. Who do I think should be in charge of enforcing immigration laws? Not the executive branch, so not the president. So
centrist Democrats are truly amazing in that they fail even basic civics. This is like middle school 6th grade social studies. The legislature writes the laws, judiciary interprets the laws, and the executive enforces the laws. You said there was no such thing as a centrist Dem earlier. Oh, I will explain this to you before. Regular people, regular voters are not centrists. Very few of them would rank as centrist on any kind of political compass test. Like 80-some% of self-described moderates are actually left-wing, okay? But when we're talking about politicians, you could directly describe their politics on a spectrum. So she is a centrist Democrat politician, which is where the ideological identifications make sense. There is a difference between the political class and the voters. Is everybody clear on that? Are we all good? Do I have to explain it every fucking day? Okay, let's keep going.
So it belongs with Congress.
I'm a centrist. I think the DSA left and the DSA right have good points. Me too. My problem is I couldn't agree more with you. I am a centrist. Like, sometimes I thought I was emerged. Sometimes I thought I was mug. Sometimes I liked groundwork. Sometimes I even agreed with an SMCer from time to time. Like I've seen my Reform and Revolution and all the I've seen all sorts of caucuses say things that I agree with, and then the caucus will say something that really pisses me off. That's why I don't identify with like Eddie. Brennan Roses said something smart. And then they all say something dumb, and I'm like, oh fuck. So I end up uncaucused, but I don't like that because obviously people are on team sports. So I need to figure out which caucus is going to bend to Mike from PA thought, and then try to go into that caucus. Did I say finger out? I don't even know what that means. Figure out which caucus is going to we need to have more super charismatic dominant figures at DSA which can dispense with all this democratic debate. Come on, guys, just listen to whatever I say without with total loyalty. Come on, there's no way that would be a problem.
It belongs with Congress.
After that, it was basically the end of the campaign for her. She stopped showing up for forums. She stopped campaigning, but there were still ads on TV for her. And Chris Rabb's campaign started to worry that she might actually just straight up drop out of the race, because if she dropped out, then they were afraid all of her support would then, or a lot of her support would go over to Sharif Street, who was the son of the former mayor and a kind of well-known guy in Philadelphia. He had his own problems, though. And back in 2022, Sharif Street worked directly with Republicans in the state of Pennsylvania to reduce the number of Democratic seats in the state, but to draw himself a seat. So now the courts came in and blocked this from happening, but it was one of the most kind of outrageous examples of selfishness, where you're going against your party, working with Republicans, simply so that you can have a more comfortable seat. And so the Working Families Party put almost $100,000 behind ads attacking Sharif over that scandal as he started to rise. And the mail-in voting among which is elderly voters and more conservative types, that had Olive Stanford winning. You had to get your ballots in, I think, by May 12th. But because she imploded around that time and after, there wasn't enough time for Sharif Street to come together, and the kind of establishment and AIPAC could never consolidate behind a single candidate, which allowed then Chris Rabb to win with less than 50% of the vote. At his campaign rally last night, his supporters were very confident about who they had defeated. Let's roll this. Now, if you can hear that chanting, that was AIPAC lost. Now, the other group that lost was Third Way. Third Way is this kind of corporate centrist Democratic organization that decided over the last month to make Hasan Piker the biggest issue in Democratic Party politics. Hasan Piker came out to Philadelphia and campaigned with Chris Rabb. After that, AOC also endorsed him as well. Let's roll a little bit of Hasan Piker at his rally in Philadelphia.
But the Democrats, some of them also love the very same things. They don't love you. They don't care about you. They don't care about your interests. And that's precisely the reason why letting your voice be heard in the primary system is almost as important, if not more important, because the Democratic Party's primary is what determines the trajectory of the Democratic Party. If you're angry because there's people like Joe Manchin, Kyrsten Sinema, people like John Fetterman. Don't say the F word. Not a lot of Fetterman fans in here. Well, he's no fan of mine either. He's always on Fox News yapping.
And I want you to understand, I identify as a Democratic Socialist, but I'm running as a Democrat because the system creates this narrowness. But there's a bunch of Democrats running, and we are not all the same. We are very different. We may share this label in this moment, in this system, but we are very different. So if you choose to register...
That's what you need to understand, is like when people are going like, oh my God, I can't believe you're sheepdogging the Democratic Party. The answer is what party? What fucking party? The party is just, it's a brand label. It's an old bottle, but new wine. Like, we literally can put whatever we want into this label. If they'll let us hijack it, that's us hijacking the train. Like, you're in the most democratic city in the nation. If you run as an independent, you lose. If you run as a Democratic primary and you win, you win. Are you trying to win the election, or are you trying to make noise and then get humiliated? I actually had this conversation with Michael Brooks. There is a guy named Jabari Brisport. Have you guys heard of Jabari Brisport? You guys know who Jabari Brisport is? Jabari is a New York State senator, and he's a Democrat. And he was a friend of Michael Brooks, mutual friend of Michael Brooks. And when he first got into politics, he was like a lot of you guys. He said, fuck the Democratic Party. That party fucking sucks ass. Fuck it. I'm going to run as a third party. So he ran as a Green, and I supported that campaign. He ran as a Green. Let me see if we can find it. Wait, how come they don't have it in here? You stupid sons of bitches. That's so weird. How come they don't have it in Ballotopedia? If Wikipedia has it. He ran the most successful Green Party campaign. Why is this not opening? What the fuck is going on? Why is everything not opening? What the fuck is happening? Jesus Christ, I hate it. And he ran as a Green. And he did pretty well. I think he got like 30% of the vote, but he lost. One of the most impressive Green Party attempts for power in America. Too many tabs? This is not too many tabs. I have 64 fucking gigs of RAM. Like, what are we doing? Okay. In 2017, Brisport ran against incumbent Lori Cumbo in the 35th New York City Council District. In a rare Green Party primary, he defeated Scott Hutchinson 32-4. He was endorsed by Our Revolution, New York Communities for Change, and the New York chapter of the Democratic Socialists of America. He lost the election, receiving 29% of the vote. Brisport earned more independent votes than any council candidate since 2003. Then in 2019, he decided to run for state senate, but this time as a Democrat. And he was endorsed by AOC, Cynthia Nixon, Bernie Sanders, New York Communities for Change, and the Working Families Party. And he won. He won that primary. So what changed about him? He tried the praxis of, Mike, just start a new third party, forehead. Just run as a third party, forehead. And then he was like, well, why don't I just run in the primary and win the primary as a Democrat and then win? And then he won. And now he's in power. So the idea that like we don't try to run as third parties is not true. You use the parties. They're just simply labels that you use or discard based on what is your advantage, what our movement advantage is. And in Philadelphia, we have socialists running as the Working Families Party, and they hold power. Kendra Brooks ran as a Working Families Party candidate instead of running as a Democrat, and she won. Nicholas O'Rourke, he ran as a Working Families Party candidate instead of a Democrat, and he won. And what do you see in this picture? There he is, endorsing Chris Rabb in the Democratic primary. It's almost as if these parties don't mean any fucking thing. They are about advancing political power for our movement, because in America we don't have real political parties. Did I say Rob? Chris Rabb. Sorry, I keep mispronouncing his name. Such a dipshit. But you get my point, right? So every time somebody brings up this like sheepdogging idea, it's funny to me because we are literally hijacking their train. They have no control. They have no control over you. And he's a member of the Philadelphia City Council as a third-party member. We do this. We do this shit. We use these parties for our own power. Not that hard. Would I support running in a Republican Party? I mean, the problem with that is it's just very unlikely you're going to win the primary because people don't agree with you. The thing about the Democrats is Democratic Party voters are often much more left-wing than the party they're in. That's why we have the opportunity of winning as socialists. There was just a poll. The majority of Democrats now identify more with democratic socialism, especially young people. All right. Rabb looks German, so you'd pronounce it Rob. I think it's pronounced Rabb, though. Yeah, I know.
As a Democrat, you are not pledging allegiance to that party. You are using your power in that moment to vote for the person who you believe reflects your interests, and the interests of the communities that you hold most dear, some of whose members cannot vote because they may be too young, or they may not be citizens, or they may be incarcerated. There are a number of people who will not vote for any number of reasons. So when you're voting for them as well.
So Third Way put the spotlight on this race by putting the spotlight on Hasan Piker. The result, Chris Rabb with a resounding victory. Hasan Piker also then went out, much to the chagrin of Third Way, and campaigned, also AIPAC campaigned with Abdul El-Sayed, the Senate candidate in Michigan. El-Sayed was in third place when that started to happen. El-Sayed is now in first place. So just a spectacular collapse on the part of both AIPAC and Third Way here.
Hey, if you like that video, hit the like button or leave a comment below. It really helps get the show to more people.
And if you'd like to get the full show ad-free and in your inbox every morning, you can sign up at breakingpoints.com.
I mean, I think at the ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, MBs, we have destroyed them. We're not watching any soccer. I wanted to do a Holy Toledo.
We have a projection to make in Kentucky. CNN can now project that Ed Gallrein will win the Republican primary against Thomas Massie for the 4th Congressional District in Kentucky. Harry, this call came a lot earlier than pretty much anybody had thought it might come, and it certainly came a lot earlier than it has in prior years when there have been primaries in Kentucky. You, however, were not surprised.
I wasn't surprised. I wasn't surprised at all, because the bottom line is this. Donald Trump is the general of the Republican Party, and the Republican primary voters are his soldiers. And if you look at Thomas Massie, you can see it very clearly. You look in 2020, 2022, 2024, he was getting 75%, upwards of 81% of the primary vote in 2020. And today, he gets less than 50% of the vote. That's the story.
That is incredible, because you look at it so consistent time after time after time, and then, wow, look at tonight.
Scott Jennings, you're know Kentucky well. Surprised at all?
No, not surprised. I actually live in the 4th Congressional District, so I've been on the receiving end of all this mail and TV ads and text messages, and the money really did pour in. It was the most expensive U.S. House primary in American history. And money came in from all corners of the Republican Party and the conservative movement to defeat Thomas Massie. They follow the president's lead on this. You know, what's the old song? You don't tug on Superman's cape, you don't spit into the wind, you don't pull the mask off the old Lone Ranger, and you don't mess around with Trump in a Republican primary. And that's what Thomas Massie has done by becoming his chief antagonist in the U.S. House. And this became really a referendum on, is Thomas Massie on the team or not? And Trump said he wasn't. The voters followed.
Alyssa, I mean, you said he was kind of MAGA before MAGA.
Yeah, when I worked for the Freedom Caucus, he was actually too right to be part of the Freedom Caucus. He kind of marches to the beat of his own drum. He's more libertarian than anything. And this is someone who voted with Trump about 89% of the time. Doesn't vote for continuing resolutions, often votes against government funding bills and foreign aid. But the real issue here, we have to say, is Jeffrey Epstein. It's the Epstein files. Thomas Massie was one of the leading voices with Ro Hannah, about accountability around Epstein, sticking it to the Justice Department. And that's why this happened. I mean, House leadership has supported him in the past, despite him being a bit of a pain at times. This was really over Epstein accountability. But to Scott's point, the base of the party is still with Trump, even with Epstein looming large.
I somewhat disagree. The key vote that House leadership turned on him over was the big, beautiful bill. I mean, the working
House
families
leadership, but
tax
the president.
credit. Well, but that's the president's domestic policy agenda, and you cannot become an apostate on two issues in a Republican primary: taxes and immigration. Massey voted against Trump's immigration security. He voted against Trump's tax cuts. So when you become a chief antagonist, when you're voting with the squad against Donald Trump's domestic policy agenda, it's not Epstein.
But that's
it's
because he was against raising the national debt, which used to be a Republican talking point. So that's exactly why he says he voted against the big, beautiful bill. And Republicans seemingly don't talk about the national debt as much as they used to. So I think we need to be fair in what he said he was voting for. Exactly. But I mean, that is why he voted against the big, beautiful bill and against the Iran war. But as Alyssa said, 90% of the time he was voting with the
that
president.
percentage is much lower now. I think this Congress, it's been more like 70. I mean, look, when you're voting with the Democrats that often, look, politics is
When you're voting with the Democrats this often, if you're voting against America serving as Israel's footstool, like, here's the one thing I want to say about these people. Like, I'm kind of glad that I'm not around them, right? Like, I know myself that I can't be in the same room with this kind of scum. I can't be in the room with these kind of scumbags. You know, these are, honest to God, they're not even human. They are wearing a skin suit. Pro-pedophile, pro-genocide party, literal corruption. They care about nothing. They value nothing. Absolutely fucking nothing. And their very existence is offensive and repulsive to anybody with any moral compass. I didn't even talk about the Trump slush fund yet. What a disgusting rat.
Team sport. He's just not been on the president's team.
Anderson, you focused on this race here. It's the biggest race of the evening because it pits the President of the United States against a prominent Republican congressman who the president simply has decided he doesn't want to tolerate anymore, and the President of the United States has won yet again. At one of the weakest moments, if not the weakest moment of his presidency nationally, the president.
I mean, the thing is, Donald Trump is very popular with Republicans, but everybody who's not in the cult hates his ass. And the problem that we have is the Democratic Party wants to pretend the Republican Party is a normal conservative party, and it's not. It's a fascist, anti-democratic, authoritarian cult. So how do you deal with a fascist, anti-authoritarian cult? You have to destroy the cult leader. You have to fight back. You have to, like, yell to your people that this is not acceptable. And everyone who's a Republican has to be shunned politically. How come we can't get a left-wing party that does that?
Poll numbers are tanking. Democrats are very confident about November, but the president is proving here in Kentucky's 4th congressional district yet again tonight that he still has a pretty iron grip on the Republican Party primary electorate anyway. Ed Galrine, former Navy SEAL, he is the president's favorite challenger endorsed in this race. He's winning by about 9 points, 8 points if you round that up, I guess, at the moment, over an incumbent Republican Congressman, Tom Massey, who's won comfortable in his district for quite some time. Anderson, most of the people live here, the Cincinnati suburbs, 3 County here, and the northeast Louisville suburbs here, and you see that's Ed Galrine's red all across there. You see Massey's winning only two counties in the district. They're out here. They include his home county, Lewis County. Significant, maybe a moral victory that Massey's winning here because Donald Trump did win 87% in this county in 2024. But moral victories don't count when this math is overwhelmingly against you. Again, 54 to 46 if you round that up. This is where the population lives. And more competitive in the suburban counties than in the rural counties. But Galrine's still winning. So even here, this was Massey's only hope. Most of the people live up here, and it's 52-48 here. It's 53-47 there, and it's 55-45 there if you round it. And again, the only place where we were still waiting for a decent amount of votes still is Oldham County, which is just outside of Louisville to the northeast of Louisville. It's a suburban area. But even if Massey, it's just not enough, Anderson, in the math. So if you look at it, it's pretty convincing. Donald Trump has always run very strong in rural America. He's always run very strong in rural Kentucky. And in the rural parts of the district, with the exception of Massey's home base right here, the challenger is winning. And this is more interesting to me. In the more upscale suburban areas, it's closer. But even there, Republican voters are listening to the president and voting against their congressman. Again, put the pieces together. Massey tonight in Kentucky, Senator Cassidy over the weekend in Louisiana, those 5 Indiana state senators just a few weeks ago in Indiana, 5 out of 7. There's a recount in one of those races who wouldn't vote with the president on redistricting. The one footnote I will add to this, though, even as Donald Trump shows his grip, Anderson, on the Republican Party, they are spending tens of millions of dollars to defeat the president's critics. And a lot of Democrats are saying, thank you very much. You won't have that money when it comes to the fall. And again, the president's overall numbers are miserable. Democrats still favored come November, but the president, I'm told by people close to him, is very much enjoying this. And they also say that it's been hard to break through to him sometimes about the national numbers and about his weakness and about the trouble the Republican Party's in, because he sees results like that and thinks he's just fine.
Jeff, obviously not the outcome they were hoping for there.
It certainly is not, Anderson, and it still feels and looks like a party atmosphere, but it is anything but a celebration. Wagon Wheel is playing for the 2nd or 3rd time here, and the anthem of this candidacy is going to be one of defeat by President Trump. I mean, the only county, as John was just saying, that the Congressman Massey is winning is Lewis County, and that is where we were with the Congressman last night at his final rally in Vanceburg, Kentucky, on the banks of the Ohio River. And the Congressman said that the Trump side is panicked. That's why they're spending so much money against him. Well, actually, that has proven to be incorrect. They were spending so much money against him to defeat him, and that is exactly what has happened in a fairly dramatic fashion. I mean, the overwhelming deluge of ads here and mailers and other things is sort of difficult to describe, and people were turned off by it, but as we know, negative advertising works. And Massey, of course, spent a lot of money as well, more than $10 million, but it was absolutely the latest stop in Trump's retribution.
Man, it's so funny how they call it Trump's retribution instead of saying Israel, Israel, Israel. It's all pro-Israel money. You're not going to say fucking Israel?
Tour. President Trump has loyal supporters, and this was a closed Republican primary. That means only registered Republican voters, if they registered last December, could vote in this primary today. So there's no doubt the base of this party is with the president and his victor here tonight. His name is Ed Gallrein. He's been barely mentioned. He's a farmer and a former Navy SEAL. He appeared yesterday with the Defense Secretary at one of his first big public events of the entire campaign. But again, this is about the president and the congressman, and the president tonight is victorious.
All right, chat, that's going to be it for me today. Thanks so much for hanging out. Here is the reaction podcast. Make sure you subscribe. Next episode was going to be with the Bad Hasbara podcast. Going to be an exciting crossover. So I'm excited. Thanks so much, everybody, for supporting the stream, for all the subs. We will be back tomorrow. I'm going to send all y'all over to the mothership to continue the Rapture new video. Brand new video for the stream. She got cooked. Mallory McMorrow destroys her own campaign. Go check it out. Thank you guys, gals, non-binary pals. I'll see you all tomorrow. Stay safe. Solidarity forever. Socialism will win. Peace.